to Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 130, season 5, A New Beginning. See, I got my shirt. Got my shirt for the occasion, you know.
This is season 5?
Yeah.
Isn't it technically season 6?
No, it's technically season 5, actually, because season 0 would be, because we start our first show was at the end of. Well, yeah, because look at it this way. Our first show was in 2015, okay? But that was only for 3 weeks or something?
Yeah, it was a 3-episode season.
So that means 16, 17, 18, 19, oh, maybe. Is it technically season 6? Am I wrong?
Or is it technically season 7?
7? What are you doing? Putting us in the grave? Holy God.
I don't know, 7. Einstein, you tell me. Look at that fucking mop. He looks like a mad scientist again. I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I would do it too.
I haven't gotten a haircut in probably, I don't know, 6 months?
And that's why you're COVID-free.
Yeah.
Correct. Look at me. I haven't got a haircut in I don't know how long. Probably longer than 6 months. Definitely longer than 6 months. That's how this whole thing started, by the way. The hair started growing. Couldn't go to get my hair cut anywhere. And I was like, well, it started coming in. It was getting a little longer. And that's when I proposed my idea to the wrench, who wrenched me, by the way, this morning. That's why I just said that. I proposed the idea. I said, well, I've gone all this time. I might give it a go. Are you cool with me just letting the hair go now? You know, because she's always said you can have the hair or you can have the beard. You can't have both. And I've done the beard a couple times. Haven't done the hair. You know, because she doesn't want to be married to Jerry Garcia. That's okay.
You remember 20 years ago when you didn't have those fucking decisions to make? Hey, I'm going to have the hair and I'm going to have the beard.
Andy Garcia's brother.
So here I got the hair, and she says, "Go on, rock on." You know, when I get to be an old man, though, I'm gonna have the beard. I don't give a shit. I'll tell you right now, I will be Jerry Garcia if I hit the age of 70 plus and I can retire. Heaven forbid. But I did get wrenched this morning. I'm not showered. You believe this shit? The alarm goes off. It's freaking 8:55. Pardon me, 7:55. The alarm goes off. I hit the button. She rolls over. She says something. Of course, I can't hear it because I have earplugs in my ears. She always does that. Then I pull the earplugs out. I go, "What, honey?" She goes, and the dreaded question, "What time are you taking a shower?" Right away, I just relinquished. I said, "Baby, I'm not going to shower." I said, "Don't worry, but if you have something to do, go ahead. I'll shower when we finish the show. It's okay." So
you started that conversation wrong from the get-go. If you had those earplugs in your, true, I would have just said, you pull those out, you go, "Sure, I'll take a blowjob."
You're right. Then I could have had a blowjob, still not had a shower, but at least
the lower half is washed.
This is true. Oh man.
You know what? I don't want to get on this for long because we're all in good moods, but I just recently what's been going on with just everything that we've been seeing about that guy we all have to deal with. That guy we all have to deal with, all the crazy things he's doing, all the crazy things he's spewing. I just have one thing to say and then we can move on. Fuck that Finnish fuck.
Brilliant. Oh, wow, that was great, Steve.
I'm sorry, I had that planned. I had to do it.
You just brought me up. You brought me up because I was hoping not to acknowledge anything. And then you went that direction. I was like, yeah. Indeed.
I thought you were
might be
fucking Jason Smith.
What's Jason Smith doing?
He's not doing anything. I just thought you were going to say fuck him.
No, I like Jason, man. He's treated me all right.
Did my camera just go off?
No.
Yeah.
You see me?
And we thank you for it.
You see me?
You. Yeah, you're fine.
Huh.
Well, what happened?
I don't know.
What happened? I don't get it.
Well,
why did you ask
well,
if we could see you?
Because my camera went off for a sec.
Oh.
Do you
Weird.
see me, Christian?
I cannot see you. But I put something on there, sorry. There's a reason. I think I screwed myself. Yeah, that's you can't really see that. But that's Finland with a big dick.
Ah! No, I see 2 big dicks on the screen. Oh! And there they are, before and after. I don't know if the people that are watching can see it the way I see it, but don't they see it from my feed? I'm the little guy in the corner, and you guys are in the middle. Is it because I'm recording this? You know what I'm saying? When the patrons watch the movie, when the viewers watch this, they see it from my end. They see the recording. They see my recording as
they see your stuff. So I have no clue how this looks. Or whatever.
Buffalo Bill, what's with the fucking skin suit mannequin behind you?
Look at this. You should see the package on this thing.
Christian, look at him.
Oh, they're talking about me because of the bill.
Yeah, look at
Bill. Oh, it's Pin. Wow.
What the fuck is that?
Wow.
I said we go in. This is before Christmas. Oh, now I'm off the radar here with these. I must have done something.
Yeah, you're fucking coming in hot as fuck.
All show already?
No, just right.
Okay, just now.
Oh,
sorry, because I must have done something.
This guy with his mic. What's next?
Hey, this guy over here.
Christian said he's
we go into a clothing store to buy something for my father-in-law. They have 2 fucking mannequins for sale.
Wow.
$20 each. And Karen's like, you should get one. For your, like, because she knows, like, I want it, like, whatever, for the movie. I'm like, I'm like, nah. And we get back to the car. I'm like, I really should go grab that mannequin. And then I go back in, and they're like, oh, do you need anything else, sir? And I'm like, yeah, can I take that creepy mannequin over there? And they're looking at me like, yeah. You want both of them? I'm like, well, no, but I should have taken both. There's like a female and a male. But I don't know. I got this. My thought process was not just have it all creepy looking there, but if we ever end up doing something movie-wise other than this, imagine this was just the movie. Here's the movie, everybody. Just the show.
This could be your stunt double, since I see its crotch is exactly your size.
This is actually bigger. This is like the scale.
This is why you guys need to watch the video.
He's creepy, and I'm shifting him back. Get back there, Bruce.
He's there though all the time, freaking lurching over you. It's crazy.
My son comes down here to play in the basement. He's like, Dad, why do you have that creepy mannequin here? Why is he here? Why?
Hey, you gotta suffer.
If we have you in the house.
I go, this eats before you eat, son.
It might put food in your mouth, as a matter of fact. Maybe that's going to be in the movie. You know what I mean? You suffer for your art. That's what it comes down to. It's true. That's the way it is. And yeah, before and after, they are. See?
There is something so, like, I am really dim sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for a joke or anything else here. But, so on our page, there was a post. I think it was from Mitchell, but don't quote me. It might have been Lucas. So I can't remember. I should have been more prepared, but I'm going by memory now. Just the finish thing brought it up. So I post something about Marco and whatever, and they post FTFF. And I'm like, FTFF?
What that means?
FTFF? What the hell does this mean? And I asked my daughters. I go ask my daughters. I'm like, I'm not up to this, like, the short form lingo anymore. Like, LOL, got it. By the way, got it.
All the kids are using FTFF in school these days.
What the hell? It's FTFF. And my daughter's like, I don't know, Dad. I've never heard of it before. And I'm like, I go back to the message, I read it. I'm like, holy shit. I am a fucking idiot. It's fuck that finish fuck. How did I not know this?
As soon as you said it, I knew where it was going.
I knew instantly too, yeah.
FTFF, he started
it's just the way my mind works. Sometimes I'm like, I got to decipher this. I was going in there like it was the Da Vinci Code. Like, what could this mean?
Did you Google it? I bet you Googled it.
All honesty, I Googled it.
Of course you Googled it. What does FTFF stand for?
I bet you it said fuck that finish fuck on Google.
Did anything come up? That's my question. Did you see any other FTFFs? Did you find
there was something, but it didn't even make any sense. I'm like, well, this
nothing funny or sexual.
Yeah, no, not that I can remember. I would have brought that up too. Anyway, that's I have to share because sometimes you just like it's just one of those dumb moments where I'm like, Holy shit. What's wrong with me? I blame vacation brain, Christmas brain.
Vacation, yeah, I was on it too. Well, when you said your thing, it reminded me of something that happened to me the other day. It's a similar type thing, except I was embarrassed because what happened was I put up a picture of me that I took over vacation, a profile pic, and I put the Buffalo Bills thing on it because, hey, we won our first playoff game in 25 years. Yippee. Awesome. So, but anyway, I put up this thing. They got those frames. So I put up a thing, and it said something, whatever, Buffalo Bills playoffs, whatever it was. So now I put it up there. It was my picture in Buffalo Bills helmet and something else. So be it. So now one of the first people that comment says, goodbye horses. Now, my dumbass I know what goodbye horses is and what it means in the reference, but I thought they were, when they said it, I thought what they were implying was that I looked like the guy in the movie. That I looked like Buffalo. It completely went over my head. Now I'm self-conscious and I'm looking. Well, I got long hair now. I go, do I really look like Buffalo Bill?
I got this lotion.
Not even thinking that I just put up Buffalo Bills on my... I didn't even make that damn connection. How stupid am I? I'm bugging. Then a few things later, Alex Harrow puts up a picture of Buffalo Bill yelling about, put the lotion in the bucket basket, something. Or a gift. So now I see this, I'm like, holy shit, do I look like fucking Buffalo Bill now? What is? And it took me till last night to realize, duh, it's fucking Buffalo Bill. What's the matter with you? But I was bugging for I almost took the picture down. I go, holy fuck, do I really look this bad?
Guys, when I say I realized what it was, I was in the shower thinking about it like the next day, and a FTFF, it's like that realization is I'm like getting zestfully clean. I'm like,
it just came to him. Boom.
Yeah.
Send Dave your mannequin so he could Buffalo Bill it.
Standing in the shower thinking. You know that
man.
song?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's Jane's Addiction, yeah.
Yeah, you said it. You said standing in the shower thinking. I was like, hey, look at this guy. Yeah, the mannequin Reno. Fucking, I love that shit. Wow.
That's it. One way or the other, he's in.
Yeah, he's in all right. What about you, B? Were you on? Oh yeah, you've been on vacation. That's true.
Only for a year.
Yeah, you've been enjoying the fruits of non-labor for a long time. Lucky
Oh,
you.
it's wonderful.
Mr.
It is
Aerosmith over here.
wonderful. I'm depressed.
Look how good it's been for my mental health. I feel wonderful. I don't feel like hurting anyone.
Can you just bring your dad in just for our sake, just so we know he's okay?
He might be naked right now. I don't know where he is.
The room. Yeah. Well,
We've been alone.
there's a
We've been in
movie
the
right
house
there,
for a
right?
year. We've been getting very weird.
Dad is running around those naked. Brandon's podcasting in a room by himself. To nobody.
Nobody's here. The computer's not even on.
I love it. I love all these memes. I love all the memes I saw. Say goodbye to 2020, 2021, here we come. Just like as if it was going to be Cinderella at the stroke of midnight, that everything was going to change. Like I said this already. I'm like, this is just 2020 part 2.
Basically,
On the move.
Yeah.
On the move.
On the rocks.
COVID 20.
Yeah, well, the thing is, at least people, it's a positive thing. They want, New Year's Eve, this and that. Let's be excited, yada yada. New Year's Eve, it was a rough year, so it's positive thinking. So you can't blame them for that. Positive thinking is always good.
I'm being a jerk. I mean, hey, there are people that have their double vaccine doses there. We're off to a slow start in Ontario. I mean, the long-term care facilities are getting them, but we're a bit behind the 8 ball. We thought we'd be like a little further ahead by now.
We're behind too. Very far behind.
Jeez, we can't get a damn thing. You know what I mean?
I'm
out there.
The FDNY couldn't even get their shots. They have to wait. They had to wait.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
no, I mean, as are we. We're not in line. Like, I'd say probably the 3 of us wouldn't be till the summer. At least not like we're probably looking at like July. I think my mom said that she's 76. She said she's probably after March, like probably April range. She's second phase or whatever.
Somebody just fall down the stairs.
Someone's doing something in the
Everything's
basement.
okay.
It's something. I don't know. Between your father doing his thing and someone here doing something, I don't know.
Banging his dick against your door right now. I want to talk to the boys. Dad, no, no.
Positive thinking is great, but the thing with me is I'm weird because when all this stuff first went down, I remember exactly where I was because I was talking about it on Christmas Eve when I had my family over. And I was telling them we were just talking about this. I said I remember sitting right there at a point in my living room on my birthday, which is August 2nd. And I remember sitting there. No, it wasn't my birthday. It was June, Father's Day. I had friends, my family for Father's Day. So now I remember sitting right there at that table and having a discussion and me telling them, how come everybody is so quick to think that this is going to be over so quick? What's to say that it doesn't come back stronger in a year and wipe out existence? We don't know. This is a brand new thing. What's to say they shut it down?
Happy Father's Day.
Happy
it goes
Father's
away.
Day. Wipe it out of existence.
I'm just saying. I mean, yes, that's the worst case scenario. But at the time, I was saying, how come everybody's so quick to think? Number one, that there's going to be a vaccine because this is early, this is June. You know that it's going to be that easy. And number two, that it's not going to go away and come back in a year or 2 years. And I don't know why everybody was thinking. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to people talk, saying, "Oh, we never thought it was going to last this long." And I'm sitting over here saying, what led you to believe that you would think, are we that spoiled as a society that we think every sickness that happens, there's going to be an automatic vaccine and we're automatically going to be better? I mean, yes, I understand that we're technologically advanced, but this is a new thing. COVID is a new strain, if you will, and there is already another strain. None of this surprises me at all. So if anyone says I've been sitting home for a year now, I'm surprised it's lasted this long, I'd be like, I'm not saying... I don't know. It just, to me, I never had any like preconceived notions. I was like, well, it could end in 2 months, or this could go on till the end of time. Whatever it is, we're going to deal with it. Well, seriously, we don't know.
No, it's just the way you said it. You guys said, it could go on for a long time, and you went to the end of time. It was the worded.
The end of time.
Well, I mean, as long as we're existing on this planet, it might always be a serious threat.
It might take out the next group of dinosaurs.
Alabama.
We're going to be the next group. We're the dinosaurs. Alabama. You know? Either way, I had vacation time. C had vacation time. It was great. I freaking sat around for a couple weeks and
I'm not going to be able to come in till the end of time.
But I'll tell you what, I watched the game yesterday. The Bills game came on at 1, and then at 4 o'clock, I'm watching the NFC game. And here's the thing. My brother and I are having this conversation about how right now we feel like shit because we were so happy the Bills won, and it was an exhausting fourth quarter and game and everything. So we were kind of mentally drained from that. But even though it was Saturday, as we're watching this 4 o'clock football game, it felt like a Sunday. And then we got into the conversation about how we always feel like shit. During something about watching the NFC games for us, that we always have like a depressed feeling when the 4 o'clock games roll around because we know that the next day is Monday. And it's the same feeling I've had since I was a child. That depressive, fucking, a little bit of a sick to my stomach feeling that I have to go back to work the next day.
Child.
I know, it's true.
Since I was a baby.
Well, it's the same thing. Monday was the first day back to school. I remember that depressed feeling I'd get Sunday nights. I hate it. And I'm still the same way now. So now... I'm back to work a week, and now it's extra depression kind of because I'm like, oh, man, I'm just getting back to work, even though I had that vacation time. So getting back to what B said, I really don't want to leave my house. I think people that are sitting at home, I would rather do anything in the world outside of being hurt or something or sick than work. Work is the last thing I want to do with my life. And I'm sorry, but it's true. I have no desire to go to work. I had no desire to go to school when I went. It's just...
Lucky wants to go home.
Yeah.
Lucky would like you to take him home.
Please, get me out of here before the end of times. I miss my family. They're not paying the ransom.
Is that Lucky?
Yeah, it is Lucky. Yep.
It is.
Can't hear. I can't really snap. You know?
And we heard him meowing, and then he just sort of made himself comfortable there.
Yeah, now he's, come here. Come on, buddy. You want to hang?
It's been, I made a vow. I said this year, I watched so many movies last year that I said this year I'm going to catch up on video games and get back to video gaming. and I'm already off to a decent start. So I'm happy about that. I'm not saying I'm not watching movies, but I'm just going back because just like, how people buy movies and like, oh, they're still in the wrapper. I haven't even watched them yet. There are video games that I haven't even played that I got or bought or was gifted.
You didn't even watch the movies for this show.
Yeah, fuck it. Video games.
You watch it play.
So what are they? PS4, 5, Xbox? What are they?
What do you say? PS5.
PS1.
Yeah,
PS1.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
It's Dig Dug. I'm playing.
All kidding aside, that's what I've been doing. I've been playing my Atari, my emulator, and my Nintendo. That's the only games I have interest in.
Honestly, I love Nintendo.
This is actually a combo of Xbox One and PS3 because I had a couple of Call of Duty games that I had never finished, and I had a blast with them. I finished one last night, and I like the campaigns of Call of Duty. That's why I've got one of them, and I'm like, why is there no campaign on this? I found out.
PS3. Do you play with your other caveman friends?
Yeah, you're talking Nintendo over here.
Hey, it's got a 1.5 speed on DVDs
it's
and Blu-rays.
Downstairs. It's got my 3D player. That's what I watched Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D with. My 3D.
PS3 doesn't mean you have to watch Friday 3 on it.
Yeah, it's only what I watch.
If you get a PS4, you can only watch Friday 4 on that one.
Exactly. That's why I keep it.
I love PS3.
Yeah. It's great.
I only had PlayStation 1 after that. That's when I stopped playing video games.
I don't play unless they're old. Like I said, my daughter and I were playing freaking Mario 3, having a blast last week. Just the two of us going back and forth and for the Nintendo. Oh, it's great. I really don't have any desire for modern video games. They just don't do anything for me. They're all they look good,
great.
But the gameplay just is not as fun, and they're not as challenging. It's like a different. I don't know. We don't want to get into a whole video game thing, but I mean, I'm about the old school. I can't help it. It is what it is.
we should do a segment of horror games, and I went back to play Resident Evil 7 because that's another one. I love the Resident Evil games, but when I bought that, I played the first level or first section, and then never continued it. So I went back to that. Those are still terrifying. That one's terrifying because it brought it back to like the horror realm again, more so than the action-oriented ones of 4 and 5.
I have an idea. See, this is what we should do. Starting now that it's season 6, the new beginning.
5.2.
Now that it's there and we're doing things a different way, have a little more free time, maybe we should go into segments. Maybe now you can have C's video game of the week, horror video game. C-section comes back and you can talk about video games for a few minutes, horror games, and then check it out. Because of some of the things I've been doing on eBay, which we'll probably get to that in a minute. I know C has a lot to discuss there. I have also just purchased one. Just kind of it was a happy accident because I'm in this VHS group on what do you call it on Facebook, and one guy was selling. It's funny, he had a VHS sale. I ended up he sold like 100 VHSs, and the only thing I got from him was a VHS rewinder and a copy of a Fangoria magazine, but an old one with Halloween 2 on the cover, and it was like $5 or $6. I go, well, that's what I would have paid back then. I said, I'll buy that now, So I bought a Fangoria. And then I said, you know what? If I'm going to have one more Fangoria, because sad story, I had everything from the first from the first issue I bought, I had maybe 3.5, 4 years worth of them. And I lugged them around from place to place for years. Finally, one day I said enough is enough, and I tossed them. Now I wish I didn't. So I went back and I rebought the very first issue that I ever, just for nostalgia. It was the one with Bad Dreams on the cover. I think it's 1988. And so I bought that one on eBay, and that's also going to rise. So I'm going to have 2 Fangorias in my house. So I'm thinking, you can have your C-section. I am going to start a brand new segment on the show of my own, and it's going to be called Living Dead Mail. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. It is totally unique.
How about a section called The Wrench, where you talk about that day's activity that your wife ruined for you?
Yeah.
Whether it be a shower or breakfast.
A shit without interruption.
Good luck on that. No one can be in the house. I can't shit with anyone in the house. You kidding me? Between animals and these 2 girls? No.
Between the
everything I did as a kid that my father really got mad at me for and harped on me for and scolded me and everything that happened, I got back tenfold with my daughter and my wife. They do everything that I used to do. that they used to piss them off, it's all coming back. Waiting till the last minute to do things. Every friggin' thing that luckily I outgrew. But apparently, I have 2 teenage daughters. What can I tell you? The old wrench. How easy would it have been to go to bed last night and say, hey, she even asked me, are you recording in the morning? Yes. Wouldn't that have been an appropriate time as you're getting ready to fall asleep? Oh, listen, I got to take a shower because this is going on and that. Okay, well, maybe I'll wake up 20 minutes earlier. That's what I would have done. But
how long are the showers?
Well, the thing is this. I don't know. How long are the showers? What am I, time people? I don't know. Too low. That's how long they are.
What am I, time people?
Well, you know how it is with a woman. She gets out of the shower, and then there's bullshit going on, and then she's in the bathroom, and there's this, and the hair, and the makeup, and who the fuck knows what else. You know what I mean? There's no peace for me to go in after she's showered. Are you kidding me? The fucking thing's a disaster. She's got stuff on the counter, on the sink. No, I can't do it. I have to shower and get out of the way for an hour or whatever for the day. That's fine. But for her to take a shower, I'm not going in after her. I'm just not going to. It's just, don't you face this too sometimes? Or no? Is your woman in and out of the fucking shower and out of the bathroom?
No, but our timings are a bit better, especially since I've been working from home for a long time too. I just don't worry about it until if she's going to work, then yeah, she's in first and whatever. This morning it was perfect because they were watching some really crappy movie. Everybody was up this morning. I made a joke about it. They're like, well, we have a right to be up. I'm like, I'm not saying you can't be up. It's just it's Sunday morning. Every time I've recorded at 9:00, there's never been anybody else up for the last 3 weeks, 3-4 recordings at least. And everybody's up watching a movie today before 9. I make a little comment about it, and it made it sound like, well, that I didn't want anybody up or around in the house. I'm like, I'm not saying that.
You should have said
you can't say that.
Send everyone back to bed.
One more hour of sleep for all of you.
Shit.
So to answer your question, yes, we run into those problems, but usually the shower fact is I've got 3. I got a wife and 2 daughters that, and one daughter likes to take really long showers. So you're lucky if you get any hot water at all.
And that's just another thing, the hot water. I got it, and now during the week, now that my daughter's remote school, she gets up at the same time I do 3 days a week, and there she is. She goes in the shower right away. Then she gets out, and there's me, and I have a shower it's fine, but it's not. I like a hot shower. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing my father used to say to me when I was a kid. What could he possibly be washing? Because they were there for so long.
7 inches of pure pleasure, Dad.
Wait, what are you washing? You're freaking 4 feet high. How long are you going to be in the shower?
It's like, I always remember Dirty by the Dozen, where he's like, you should be able to take a bath while on one side of a record plays or something like that. And I thought that was a record, though. I guess back in the day, the records were smaller or something shorter. Because I'm like, a record's a long time. That's a long bath, a nice, relaxing bath.
What do you mean? Like an
I don't know. It was just an LP, I guess. I just remember it from Dirty by the Dozen.
Dirty by the Dozen?
Cheaper by the dozen. Cheaper by the dozen. As combining Dirty Dozen. As combining the
one guy and 12 girls, and it's all anal. Dirty by the dozen.
It does. A little for you, a little for you. Oh, it's a baker's dozen.
Dirty by the dozen. I knew what you did there. You combined the Dirty Dozen with
I know. That's crazy.
I might have to watch one of those. Because it's January, it's my non-horror month. So check
those
this
are
is what I
old
watched.
school.
This is what I'm going to do a video at the end of the month for here. Because Abraham Ram, the Ram Man, had the idea. He goes, why don't you just discuss what you've watched at the end of the... So I've been writing things down and rating them. But this is what I watched. January. Wow, check it. Soul. You ever see that new movie, Soul? Okay. These are all first-time watches. First time. Soul, Uncle Buck, Assault on Precinct 13, Searching, Shadow in the Cloud, of course, for today, and Bad Boys I watched last night. This is
Bad Boys, the first one?
The first one. Yeah, I have never seen any of them. I'm not going to watch part 3 first, So, yeah. Part 1. So now...
I don't know what's going on.
Watch part 2. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
That's how it is. Like, I watched John Wick 1 last year. Haven't watched the other two, even though I own them. I mean, I'll get there, but it's just like, but I have a real complaint, and every movie, and I don't know if you guys realize this, but I found this out, just recently. Every like movie that isn't a horror movie that comes highly recommended, not every, of course I'm exaggerating, but so many of these movies that I've never seen that I want to, that are like highly regarded, that are not horror movies, are fucking 2.5 hours long or longer.
I knew you were going to say that.
So anytime, you know what? I'm so angry about, from now on, anytime somebody says to me, how come all you watch is horror? I'll tell you why. Because they're fucking mostly 90 minutes in and out. I don't want to commit a fucking entire evening to this thing. Because like, I come home from work, there's not enough time for me all the time to watch a 2.5 fucking hour movie or longer. I cannot believe that you name a popular movie that's non-horror, and I'll look it up. And the running time in like 90% of the cases, it's ridiculous. It's at least 2 hours. And I'm looking at thinking, okay, I was gonna watch Die Hard 2 hours. I was gonna watch fucking, I don't know, The Sting or something. Oh, these are movies that are 2.5 hours. What the? I had no idea. I figured they're gonna be like an hour and 40 minutes. They used to be like a lot of movies in the 80s and 90s, like regular movies that you watch, like an action flick or this or that, But no, fucking 2 hours plus. So I don't know. I don't get it. And a lot of times, I think you could trim the fat. But
you're watching like high end. I was like looking for like I put on The Hunter from the Future last night.
I never heard of it. What the hell is that?
It's like
cartoon?
a 1983 movie that came out. It's so bad, you gotta see it. You'll recognize it. It was like one of those ones that you saw at the video store back in the day. I don't know what this is the box.
Oh, don't get me started on those things, buddy.
and then because I couldn't get The Party Animal, which is the other one I wanted to watch. So I'm going back to like 80s movies that I possibly saw, but don't remember anything about, but have been on the sort of phantom wish list or rewatch list or just watch list. And I ended up making 20 minutes into before I'm like, I better call it a night because I got to wake up for this recording.
Better go to bed or else you're going to be tired. I've been on an Italian horror kick. Been watching a lot of Bava that I haven't seen before.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I watched Blood and Black Lace last month for the first time ever.
I watched it the other day for the first time.
And I quite enjoyed it. But however, once again, I've heard so many people say, I was expecting this to be another Suspiria. The way I've heard Moods particular talk about Argento, saying that Argento gets all the props for doing all the lighting stuff, this and this and this, that where really Bava did it first. So I'm watching Blood and Black Lace, which is supposed to be his visual masterpiece. Yes, there are some cool scenes with the lighting. Yes, it is done, but it's nowhere near what the fuck Argento was doing with Suspiria. So once again, I keep hearing these comparisons about, something that's Suspiria related, and I go back, I'm like, that's why Suspiria is so great, because anytime someone compares, I watch it, I'm like, well, I could see what you're saying, but it's nowhere near that level. Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off, B. Italian horror. Italian Horror Month, January, for Exploding Heads.
It is for me. I've been going nuts with it.
What else have you watched?
Kill Baby Kill, The Washing Machine. What else have I been watching? The Suspicious Death of a Minor. That was really good by Sergio Martino. And I'm watching The Other Hell right now by Bruno Mattei, which is pretty bad.
I don't think I'll ever watch a movie of his. I don't think I could.
I just, you know what? I
could be misinformed, but
I just, killer nuns and all that. I was like, oh, I'll check it out. Let's see.
Killer nuns.
They're not actually. Well, yeah, maybe.
Nunsploitation, man.
Nunsploitation, yeah.
Yeah. So are you getting? So you're watching all these Italian movies. Are you just like settling in that groove where that's all you want to watch right now because you're just in that mode?
Yeah, I'm in the 60s and 70s mode right now. Watching lots of low budget 60s and 70s stuff.
Nice.
Feels good. I'm not ready to get crazy with 2021 yet.
Nah, not till March. Not till March for me. Especially now with the show, we're going to be watching at least 2 a month. You know what I mean? So even if we didn't want to, we're still going to be on top of it more than in the past. Which I've already resigned to the fact that I know I'm going to have more shitbirds this year than last year because I'm going to be watching movies blind. Because we have no choice.
Shitbirds.
You know, like this movie that we did tonight. We
Well,
had to cover it. The only one out. Is it a shipper?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it is, but if it was, it's by no fault of my own. It was the only choice we had because of
I
release
think,
time.
I think honestly, this would have been the only opportunity. I think honestly, after this, we'll have a better chance of picking films, obviously, that we want to see, based on you guys can go by descriptions. I watch trailers, so I'll watch trailers for them.
See, that helps. If you watch a trailer, that's something you can weigh in.
Yeah.
Say, yeah. This looks like it might be. This looks like total trash, so we're not going to watch this. You know, yeah, that's true. So it's going to be something. So check it. I got this yesterday. I want to show a picture of it. Look at this little. I have a box of VHS. Check this out. Can you see all those titles?
Guys, Halloween.
Okay. I got that shipped to me for a total of $14.50. How about that?
That's
I know.
amazing.
I'm so happy. You know why I got them so cheap? Because they have mold on them. But guess what? I don't give a fuck about the tapes. I just want the boxes. So now I discovered this whole thing. There's this whole thing amongst these VHS collectors, this whole mold deal. If these movies are moldy, they're useless. But they can be repaired, and it depends on the amount of mold and everything else. So they'll sell them real cheap. So now there's this whole thing going on. But I mean, I got these great freaking titles that normally you're not going to find them less than $10 each. And I got them all for.
What if in this case the tapes are fine, but only the boxes have mold?
Moldy boxes. Yeah. It's growing right off of the front.
You got
fucking, Leatherface's face is fucking mold.
Do you have any pointers, Brandon, for him how to clean it? Like with your moldy nuts, I'm assuming that you could give him a couple of pointers, like take a toothbrush and just scrub deeply.
Hey, I bathe still.
So you dip him in tea, like you're in that's one thing about I took a bath for the first time in 5 years over the holidays, and I'm not exaggerating. I never take baths anymore. I decided to take a bath.
30 years.
It's really it was actually kind of nice.
No, it is.
I hate to admit it.
Oh, it's great.
I didn't have the wine, but I had the bath. And it was kind of nice. I felt very clean. I felt deep dish clean.
No wrench sign on the outside of the door.
No wrenches.
I want to get him a sign that says, the thing just with a wrench in it. Just only Dave knows what it is. He can hang it up anywhere he wants to be.
Make a shirt. We should just make a shirt, another exploded head shirt with no wrench.
Yeah, right. Like the No Man's thing for Married with Children. No wrench. Holy shit.
Well, what are we doing? Because I feel like we should jump into one of these older ones, no?
Yeah, we should get into something old and come back and BS some more. Yeah, because what we're doing is...
What was his name in Creepshow? Was it Jordy Verdell?
Jordy Verrill. The Lonesome
Verrill.
Verrill.
Verrill. Why am I saying Verdell? Gordell.
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 So yeah, because we picked our new movie, which yes, everyone knows we've gone back to our old format. Everything old is new again. 135 will be a big show, and on the fives. So, but now we're doing the old and the new. But of course, in typical EH fashion, it wasn't just as easy as doing two movies. It was fucking. We almost had the two movies, but then Jason Smith, I believe, had the bright idea to why don't you guys watch the Kumasagams, the other iterations of the same story or similar story? Because the movie is called Shadow in the Cloud, and it was basically saying there's a gremlin in the sky and they're on a plane. Okay, well, what does that remind us of? Twilight Zone. So then we come to find out, well, we already knew there was 1 and 2. Then we find out that there was a third one on the Jordan Peele show, and JP and Jason Smith, the twins, they both had something to say about that. It's true, they are. They really are twins. They feel they have the same attitude about things. It's funny. Completists, So they mentioned that one. So we get our hands on that one, and now we're going to do all 4 versions known to man of the. Well, not all. I mean, they did it on The Simpsons, probably.
Yeah, possibly my favorite with Bart on the bus.
Yeah, right. And Third Rock from the Sun, they had a little thing on there. Did you know that? Because John Lithgow was the star, of Third Rock from the Sun, and Shatner was guest starring on it, and they were on a plane together or something, and someone said something.
That's hilarious.
He said, the same thing happened to me.
That's funny. That's actually funny. because man, that Shatner one's dated. But I know that I'm going to be in the minority here because I know you guys love your Twilight Zone. I know you love your Twilight Zones, but holy shit, is that dated?
Easily the best one of the three.
No, I was shocked at the one I liked the best.
Oh my god, if you like Jordan Peele's the best, you're ridiculous because that thing is fucking garbage.
You're off the show.
You are off the show.
Then I'm off the show.
You are off the show.
I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed that one.
Until that ending, and then I'm like, what the fuck? That's the dumbest fucking ending I've ever seen ever.
Yeah.
So
anyway, not dumber than that fucking Monshi fucking outfit in the William Shatner.
You know who he looked like? You know who he looked like in the original? He looked like who did he look like, Dave?
I'll tell you what he looked like.
Go ahead, tell me.
The bear, although but it's actually the dog, but everybody calls it the bear from The Shining. Give him the blowjob.
Fucking Dave and I are lining up exactly.
I've always
100%.
It's the old Twilight Zone, so nothing can be. You can't touch it. It's sacred.
Not one of my favorite episodes, but it's
throw everything in black and white, and it's my favorite.
It's not even my favorite Twilight Zone episode with Shatner in it, and it's definitely not my favorite Twilight Zone that Matheson wrote. So I still think it's a great episode, but that's what we're doing.
We just fucking spoiled everything, all our feelings.
Those are my notes.
Fucking C had to open his mouth and said he'd like the Jordan Peele one.
What are you going to do?
All right,
it's okay. Now we'll find out why. Find out. It's a preamble. That's fine.
All right, let's start with 1963's Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. This was Season 5, Episode 3, directed by Richard Donner. Written by Richard Matheson. A man newly recovering from a nervous breakdown becomes convinced that a monster only sees he is damaging the plane he's flying in.
Okay, I gotta say this. I probably enjoyed this more than I ever have before watching it for this show. Yeah, I've always been lukewarm on it because the first time I ever saw it was the John Lithgow one and on the movie, which I'm a huge fan of Twilight Zone, the movie. It's probably, I know it doesn't seem to get the recognition it deserves, probably because it's not all horror, and it pretty much all is, except for the one, which isn't at all. You don't like that Twilight Zone, the movie?
Not overall. I mean, the segment's not bad. John Lithgow's great. Yeah. He's overacted, but it's good.
I think that no one ever talks about it when they talk about great horror anthologies. And they talk about all these other ones. It never comes up. But for me, if I'm making a top 10, I think we did. I'm not sure if we did. Either way, it is there for me. I've seen it so many times. Maybe because I'm a Twilight Zone, junkie. That's fine. But I think it's really well done. But here's the funny thing. That was actually my least favorite one when I was a kid. Was the one on the plane. Everybody blew it. Everybody thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I was just like, well, I like it. But I was a much bigger fan of the one with the little boy when I was a kid. Now as an adult, my favorite one is the first one. As a matter of fact, I think it's fantastic. Despite what went down, but it's really well done. But either way, so I saw that one first. So now being a kid at that age and seeing the Twilight Zone movie and watching it, and again, remember when I said I wasn't watching black and white when I was a kid. I wasn't watching the Twilight Zone show. But then I got a little older and I went back, and then seeing the movie so many times and appreciating it, and then going back and watching this one and the look of the gremlin, first and foremost, it was such. I understand what you're saying. It is a little off-putting in 2021 to see that. I get it, but
this was 60 years ago.
Exactly. Put it in context. Correct.
It was 60 years ago.
Right. It was 60 years ago.
So I got to watch it with. I wasn't born then, so how can I review it if I'm watching it with 60-year-old eyes? Like, you got to look at it for what it is now. That's what it is. Again, my big argument would be the husband and wife together team doesn't work. I think that one takes away from it based on the other ones without any significant other. I like that better when it's just the one person on the plane and not with a wife, whatever. I think he overacts. I'm not a big Shatner fan one way or the other. So his acting, again, you could argue, oh, Christian, it's old school acting. Okay, great. I like old movies. I love Hitchcock films. This just felt bad.
I thought Shatner carried this episode. I thought he's the reason why I like the episode so much because of the fact that he had his nervous breakdown 6 months previous previous on an airplane, and it really focuses more on is he crazy or is he not?
You beat me to it. I was going to wait till the end to say, B, don't even fucking go there, because I have a feeling you're going to go there.
It is.
Well, wait, did they answer it?
That's what it is. These episodes were so ahead of its time because they stuck to a moral compass. The Twilight Zone episodes, every single one of them did.
Wait
and
a
this
second.
one deals with his mental health.
Don't they show the plane in wreck at the end, the last shot?
Yes, and that's going to prove that he's not crazy. This one has a happy ending. It even references that it's about to have a happy ending for him because he's not crazy and he's about to be reprieved from it.
Yeah, after his mental breakdown.
No, he didn't have a breakdown because he even says to his wife at the end, he's like, I know, honey. The only problem is no one else knows.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that you've come around. I thought you were going to go that direction. I was not going to be thrilled.
Oh, no, the creature's real. The creature's real, but the whole point is it's
I wish it was not.
His mental illness.
No, I love that it is. And B, I agree. That's what separates this. And I'm not saying it's better as a result, but I'm saying this is the only one of the three of this particular story where he has somebody with him. He has his wife, and you learn that he had a breakdown before, and it was on a plane. You get some context. Where in the Lithgow one, all we see is this guy in the beginning in the bathroom bugging out, and he doesn't like flying, which is fine. But I mean, it's done well. But I like having the backstory and the context of the character. So I'm with you. That's what I like about it. Shatner, his performance, the way he's written.
I thought the wife was terrific in it. I thought they played well off of each other. I like the fact that he's trying to get home. Yeah, there he is. There's the gremlin.
Yep. Slash bear, slash blowjob dog.
Gremlin like wires. I love when he just goes, wee! In,
oh, I love it. So
dude, that's funny. That's
fucking
funny.
ridiculous.
That's funny.
Oh, it's so fun.
The scare at the window. The scare at the window is legitimately a fantastic scare.
Yep.
But in traditional, again, it dwells on it a lot longer in the original version. But that's fine. Again, I appreciate the fact that
your
it's
favorite
dated.
version had a stuffed animal version of this fucker in it, so don't even go there.
Oh, boy.
Fuck the two of yous. Fink bastards.
Boy. But the thing about this, you get the full explanation of what's going on with the character, where you don't get it in the other ones, and you get Rod Serling in the beginning giving his preamble. You get a great setup. And then it starts, and this is where I'm going to differ with you, see? I love the one when he does that, because it's like he's messing with his head. He's like, he's not just walking away like in the other ones, or not walking. He's not just not there. He's teasing him. That's why he's doing the wee, and he's flying off. He's totally messing with him, just to make it even worse. And
yeah.
I love that. I think those are my notes. How he pulls himself up. Remember, he pulls himself to the top of it when he's there, and then he gets blown away. I think I love that stuff.
The blown away thing is silly, but it's so fun.
Yeah, but it's fun, and it worked well for the time. It's a good effect.
Oh, I love it. I love it too. And this isn't. Look, there's 158 of these fuckers. This isn't even in my top probably 50 episodes, but it's still a great episode. What the hell?
That's what he looks like. That's a Moshishi.
Yep.
The fucking thing's a Moshishi. That's what the gremlin
My brother
is.
had him. Yeah, my brother had him when we were kids. I know. I'm familiar with that guy.
What are they called?
Manchichi.
Moshishi.
Manchichi. The C's are cha.
What you guys have French stuffed
He's doing
animals?
the French pronunciation.
You guys had French stuffed animals when you were kids?
No, his was French. Mine was Manchichi. I'm gonna look it up on the
Monchichi.
YouTube.
I thought it was Monchichi, right?
Yeah, you said shishi.
Oh, maybe I said
Oh,
shishi.
so Dave had a Japanese one.
I did
you
say
had a French
shishi.
Canadian one, and
Either way, it's the gremlin.
Hold on, here's the commercial. Manchichi.
It's Monchichi, girl doll, boy doll. School time and football fan outfits are each sold separately.
Manchichi, oh so soft and cuddly. With the thumb in her mouth, she's really neat. Fun to wiggle his little feet.
Yap. Yap.
I love you, Manchichi.
Monchichi girl doll and boy doll are each sold separately from Mattel.
Yep, good old Manchichi.
Nowadays, it'd have the unisex doll. Or the non-gender specific doll.
non-binary.
Yeah.
Oh, Sometimes you don't. That wasn't supposed to happen. Enjoy that nuts. Mounds
Do you
don't.
just have these old commercials on loop on your phone? Nostalgia.
I wish that was my life. Ooh. All right, I'll stop. I mean, look at my basement.
Please
I didn't
stop.
even get into it deep, but I mean, I have 3 shelves filled now. 50 fucking VHSs
Munchie
on each
cheese.
thing. Anyway, let me stop. Maybe later. Anyway, Munchie cheese. That aside, I still think it's a great episode. And like I said, I enjoyed it more than I have before. So it will be in my top 50 now, where before it may not have. So
I realize that Twilight Zone is the holy grail for a lot of people, and maybe even where they got their first exposure to the horror. So I can understand that, but I only saw a handful. I saw more Doctor Who growing up than I saw Twilight Zone, the original series. And so just going back to this, I'd seen this before, obviously, but going back to it, I'm like, wow, this is dated. And again, of course, it's 60 years old. But I also didn't like the effects were just, it was just laughable to me. There's no such attention for me at all, other than the window scare, which of course we knew because we've watched every version of this story.
To me, this one, that's where I feel like the movie version did it better, where they focus more on the creature. This one is more about
the guy.
the character. Yeah, more about the man.
Yeah. It's so well written, and it's based on Matheson, who may be my favorite storyteller, if you get right down to it. The guy's written so many amazing stories. Wow.
And this does a great job of just the reactions when he says, there's a man on the plane. His wife's reaction when they start bringing the other crew members in, and they're kind of patronizing him, and he's like, "Oh, I see what you're doing. Never mind.
Yep.
I'll just sit here and say nothing."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he says it to his wife, and then he says it to them when they come.
Yeah.
I think it's great. And then he finally has enough, and he goes, "I won't say another word. I'll see us crash first," he says.
Yeah.
I'm like, nice.
Yeah, can you imagine saying that on a plane today? That's how you know it's dated, not because of the furry bear suit, because he said, "I'll see us crash first," and they don't fucking pull him off the plane and beat him to death.
Right. Yeah, like it's the opposite in the new one. The guy says something that's innocent, but it's, you know what I mean? They make it a big deal about it because it's modern times. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's great. I haven't enjoyed it as much as I have this time. Just the whole, because having his wife there and more of the backstory and the discussions, and I don't know. I think it's groundbreaking for the time. It's such a great story to write, that this thing's out in the sky messing with planes. That's why freaking planes crash. It's a simple thing, but it's like, wow. And there is a line that they use in the new one, and we'll get to that, but which I liked about them being in the sky. But I mean, I don't know.
We weren't meant to be up this high. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. That was
That
one
is
of
a
the
cool line.
from that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, human beings are up in this high up. You know. But
No, I
you
agree.
gotta give
because
it credit.
It's
Sorry,
kind of
Brandon.
heartbreaking. I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, because it's kind of heartbreaking. It's been 6 months. They reference in the beginning that he has kids at home. The wife's taking him home. He's gonna see his kids for the first time in 6 months, and he's having this breakdown at this point because he doesn't believe what he's seeing is real, and he's like, if it's not real, I'll commit myself. I'll commit myself again. So he's prepared to just be fully committed at this point. So it's kind of heartbreaking. I like the idea of having a family involved in this,
me too. Yep.
given the type of show it was.
Right, and it's weird for us because we saw the other ones afterwards. We saw, most of us, I'm saying, probably saw the movie in John Lithgow's before we saw this one. So seeing it that way and then going back, that's what it is. You're like, oh, okay, so this was meant to be more about a family man, and he had previously had a breakdown, and he's getting out of the hospital, wants to see his kids, wants to do right by his family, and now he's got the pressure of that. What's going to happen if I am flipping out here? I'm going to go back, and now I'm not going to see my wife and kids again. I don't know. It's just, there's like an added thing to it, which I enjoy. There's an added element. But
Agreed.
I don't know. What's that?
Agreed.
And he was pretty smooth with the gun, how he did it. You know? The way he obtained the
He
gun.
got sucked out of the window.
Well,
I'm
the way he
sorry.
obtained the gun.
I think I'm commenting more. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, this is very this is inspired many versions. We talked about the Simpsons even doing it, and the joke of on Third Rock, and all the versions we're going to be talking about tonight. So obviously, it's influential. But it's just the the datedness of this made me laugh a lot. It kind of took me out of it. Plus the creature, they should have shredded it in shadow more or something. Like I just thought it looked too laughable for me to be invested. And that's just the reality of it.
I think the creatures not looking the best is going to be a theme tonight, at least for me.
Oh, wow.
Well, I would actually, I won't even get into it because like I was actually shocked if the new movie being CG, that how much I enjoyed the look of the creature, because I'm usually the one that nitpicks.
Oh, wow.
On that shit so much.
And when we get there, that's the weakest part of the movie for me, is the gremlin.
Well,
are you talking about
I'm
the
talking about
Twilight
Shadow.
Zone?
I'm talking about Shadow
Or
in the
Shadow?
Cloud.
yeah.
Oh, really?
I was shocked. I thought the creature looked great. That's not the problem with the movie. The problem with the movie is something totally
It's a
different.
bat. It's a big bat.
Well, that's what it is. Yeah.
a big
Who cares? It's a rat.
Yeah.
I like
They
it.
should have made it more.
Flying
They should have
rat.
made it. They should have made it scarier.
But I think,
like,
I think they were called flying rats, and that's why when you see the gremlins in the movie Gremlins, because of their ear shape, it was rodent-like ears, and I think that's why. I don't know. Maybe I'm just going too
Fucking
deep.
boggles my mind. They should have made it scarier. Yet Monchi gets the highest praise known to man. Monchi. Sorry, I'm saying
because of the storytelling. Because of the storytelling.
and I can't fault that. I get it, but I still prefer the ones with the 2 episodes with the guy without a wife. But I get what you're saying. I can't deny what you're saying. I just my preference
Adam
was
Scott
the
had a wife. She just wasn't on the plane with him.
That's what I meant. Not with them. Presently with them. I just want to show. Like, he looks like the fucking Moshishi creature. This guy.
Yeah, he does. Brandon Chichi.
Your barber's in the Twilight Zone.
There they are, before and after.
Too
Awesome.
much off the top.
Okay, I guess we can wrap it up then. What else can we say?
Yeah, good idea reviewing 3 of the same episodes. We're going to say the same thing the next one. It's like 4-minute reviews.
It'll be quick. Good, it'll be quick. And
How do you get in depth on a 22-minute episode?
Well, no,
It's
but
very-
that's it. All 3 of them end up being the length of what we would talk about typically of
Yeah.
a film. Yeah, that's fine.
Correct. Agreed.
I love the Twilight Zone. It's not because other people love it. It's not because it's a holy grail of horror. It's because I grew up watching it. You can find it on TV anytime. First of all, I remember every New Year's watching the countdown, watching the marathon, not the countdown, the marathon, because we'd be looking for certain episodes when I was younger. We'd be looking for all the Burgess Meredith episodes, Time Enough at Last, or The Obsolete Man, and Willoughby.
Would be on there all the time.
Yeah, so many great episodes. So
Masks at midnight for New Year's Eve.
Oh man, fantastic! Fantastic.
Yeah.
I literally went through this series. I think 2 years ago. Went through the whole series from episode 1 all the way through to 158. And
did you really?
Yeah, and I don't think there's a bad episode in there. I really don't. Even the worst episode, I still really enjoy. And I couldn't even tell you what the worst episode was.
The Howling Man.
The Howling.
No, it's not so terrible, I guess. Either way, I mean, it's
What's the
regarded
Howling
as the
Man?
worst. It's the one when the Howling Man is the guy that's imprisoned in the cave, and the guy goes to the city, and they're all aware of him, and I don't know, it's not quite as memorable.
Huh.
But the guy, you go in the cell. The guy's locked up in the cell. Either way, you know which one I didn't like all that much was the one where at the end. I forget it.
Say it. I gotta know.
It's the one where at the end, it goes exactly where you know it's gonna go, and even for the time, it wasn't. Oh boy,
Fucking Lord! His wife becomes a published author, and he's exploring all his weird sexual fantasies ever since.
His wife is a published author.
Oh no, she's not she's self-publishing. Why are we getting into this now? We'll talk
Well,
about it
because
another
all
time.
of a sudden, ever since then, he's got a Buffalo Bill mannequin. He's got fucking heads giving him head.
This was how to style your hair for dance, and it's the creepiest fucking thing known to man.
It's awesome. Now on the forehead, get a black Sharpie and write "Help me" backwards. It's perfect. It's perfect. And then you shake it like this, and you go head. It was
Okay.
and then talk to it on the show. You know.
Look at Brandon's face right now.
The fuck
This
is
was
going on here?
This was a wrestling angle in the late '90s. It was great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Steve, there's some stuff in wrestling that you would appreciate.
I got scared. I stopped in the mid '90s.
Oh shoot, what was I gonna? It probably was the mid-90s.
You were talking about the episode.
I don't. At the end, the person just makes the decision that you know that they were gonna make the whole time, and I think it's number 15 looks just like you. And again, it just might have been the last time I watched it.
Oh man, I love that episode. That's such a tragic episode.
I just think maybe the last time I watched it, it was so. I don't think it is a bad episode, but I do think that if I listen. I don't know if there's a bigger fan than me, but I'm going to say there's probably 5 episoes, especially some of the hour-long ones, the season 4.
Season 4 is probably the weakest season because
it is. This is season 5. You believe it? I know it's a podcast. I mean the Twilight Zone. Into their 5th season, they're still cranking out amazing things like this. That's
season 5 had amazing episodes in it.
I don't think anything I think it's the best anthology series. And I don't think there's any question anywhere. Like I was having a discussion recently about the new Creepshow series. And I was like, some were pretty good. Better than I thought it was going to be. Some weren't as good. But to me, if you look at it, just based on that one season, it's like Tales from the Crypt. Because to me, Tales from the Crypt and Tales from the Dark Side, there are some really good ones. But overall, the series, I think people give, especially Tales from the Crypt, a pass. Where it's like maybe a 65% approval rating. It's just, there are some stinkers in Tales. People like Tales from the Crypt because it's nostalgia and everything else, and the Crypt Keeper and you know, the memorable episodes. But I don't think it's as good as people, overall, as people think it is. I think if you're going to watch one show beginning to end, watch The Twilight Zone, watch any other anthology, and I guarantee you when you're done, you're going to be like, yeah, it's the best. I don't think there's even a question. I think it's like a 95% freaking approval. But, I don't know.
8.5.
8.5? Okay, for me it's a 9.
And I'm a 6.5.
You're fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Wow.
That just...
It's okay.
I know, man. He's allowed not to like it.
Hey, it's okay. What are you going to do?
It's still a decent enough rating. It wasn't blowing it.
I wish we could watch all the Twilight Zone episodes and do a separate podcast.
Yeah, that would be a separate podcast. And Marco, you don't have to worry. I won't be on it. And that's not that I don't want to. I can't dedicate my time to go back and revisit
Get Christian on the Doctor Who podcast.
That's
one
fine.
episode a week.
And the
One
Monchichi.
episode a week. That's it. That's all.
Monchichi or Chi-Chi?
Chi-Chi. I was saying it wrong. Sorry.
He was being French.
I'm going by Monchichi.
Monchichi. Yeah, like Mon Cherie, you know?
Yeah.
Mon Cherie. Mon Cherie or something. Monchichi.
Dave, how come you don't look like you're in high def? How come Dave doesn't... Okay, there you go. Never mind.
I don't even get.
okay over
It's
there?
bad enough you worry about yours. Don't even talk about mine, please.
No, you got shaky for a sec. You got blurry for a sec.
Stop!
Stop! Dude, that's what you're doing every time you shake like that. What do you hit the
Really?
camera?
No, I can't even reach my camera if I tried. You know, not without sitting up. So, by the way, I figured something out. I was listening to another podcast recently, and they said, and I never knew this, that Goosebumps is Canadian. Is this true?
I think
Gonna
it was a
play
Canadian
dumb.
production, yeah. No, not playing dumb.
That's why it was
like-
your number 1 of 2015. Now I know.
Not the,
It's a Canadian thing.
just the two of you. This is what I want with both your heads, like Brandon always says. I just want them fucking stuck.
Put the Jason mask on. That
Number
looks like
1
my
and
hair
number
from
2.
behind.
And then Marco's in a big fucking frame.
A frame?
You should put the Jason mask on it one day and the Scream mask on it another day. And there's every show just have like a different mask on it with a VHS next to it.
Your fucking basement is like a basement of fucking nightmares and horrors. No wonder nobody wants to come down there.
I got a rocking chair, a rocking horse over here. Look at Dave. Dave just
He's like, where's the
rocking
rocking horse? Where's the
Whoa.
rocking horse?
Shit, don't say that.
Whoa.
I'm talking about a rocking horse.
That's my shit up.
Look at that. Look at that.
Anyway.
Man.
Goosebumps giveaway.
Goosebumps giveaway. Check this out, though. I'm going to swing the camera. You're going to get some nostalgia. See? Look.
Is that a throw blanket? Oh, look at that.
Nice, huh?
He's even got Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. Better watch out.
What's
Love
two over? What's two over from Tales from the Crypt? Next between that and Terror Train, and Tales from the Dark Side.
Terror in Toyland.
Terror in Toyland. What the hell's that?
Believe it or not, it was another name for Christmas Evil when it first came out.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. That's nostalgic even for me,
nostalgic.
man.
But look at it, though. See what I
came in
did?
my
I
pants.
have the boxes behind the boxes. So remember when you used to go in the rental store?
Yeah.
And some movies would be out and some movies wouldn't be out. And you know what I mean? That's how you could tell.
Remember the idiots who used to bring the fucking box with the art on it up? Be like, here, I'd like to rent this. Be like, was there a box behind it? No. It's out, you dummy.
Did I see Street Trash there too?
Of course you did. Yeah.
Damn you.
Dude,
That
I'm
movie
having
alone
British
cost
ones.
me a shit ton in VHS back in the day. Ugh, crazy.
So good. Those boxes
And-
are so...
and
And
I
the
know you
boxes
said
I can't get, I'm going to have posters of. I'm going to have every box that I love, like all my all-time favorite box arts, and the ones that I can't get because they're too expensive and I can't find a deal, I'm making room for 8 more posters. And it's going to be those ones. That
It's
are
going to look
my
like an
favorite.
Arby's commercial in there. With all those boxes.
I'm gonna have a display of UPS and FedEx boxes. This is my favorite FedEx box.
Purolator. Check it out.
80. So did you complete your collection? See, your Friday the 13th. Has it happened already? Do you have all the
No.
VHS?
There's a lot in shipping has been brutal. I was expecting a bunch of things this past week. I got 3 things. So I've got a bunch more coming, but I've bought the same fucking movie as of you, Dave, in numerous, like even on DVD because of how many DVD versions that they have.
Sure.
It's I'm like I think I'm insane. I think this is what an insane person does.
I'm with you. Well, I have all the VHS now except 3, 4, and 6. So I have everything. I just think of
3's the only one that's come so far. I've got 2 coming, but you don't care, like which is fine. You just want the boxes, and I was trying not to get the what is it, Good Times or whatever the hell that one was, Gateway. I was trying not to get the Gateway ones. I was trying to get the original, like that's an original Friday 3, and I wanted to try to find the original or the '88 reprints. Again, the heavy tape ones. I don't know. I just wanted. That's what I wanted.
They look identical to me 100%. If there was anything that was one bit different, then no. I don't care, because to me, every Friday VHS, whether it was printed in the 80s or the 90s, looks the same. There's no difference. So like now, for example, there's a million different Christine ones. I want the one I just bought before we came on the air now was the one that was printed and the one that I saw on my shelves in the VHS stores in the 80s. That's the one I want. I don't want the ones that were made later. For me, it's about the nostalgia of the box. So with the Fridays, to me, I don't think there was any difference in any of the cover arts. That's why I'm not uptight about it.
No, it's like the logo placement and it's just the reprint of the tape inside, which you don't care about, which is fine. I was trying to find the original ones just because I was going insane. And so
Are you going to watch?
I watched it the other night. Yeah.
How does it compare to watching the brand new Blu-rays and then watching them? What do you say?
There's no question. I mean, this is.
No, but I mean, how do you feel when you watch it?
Oh, it's fun. It's nostalgia. And you put it in a VHS tape. There's just something about it. There's a happiness. My daughter's coming down and says, "I'm watching VHS." She's like, "Cool." She walked away. I was like, it's just a different thing. There's no. She'd be like, "You've got like it on Blu-ray. What the hell are you watching a 4K scan?"
Did all the mold shoot out onto your face when the tape was over and ejected?
Yeah, I looked like Jason.
We watched Faces of Death on VHS because it's the only way you can watch it. My daughter and I. You know what I mean? So
what a bonding
right
experience.
Here. It's fun. It's easy to tell now. In like 80% of the instances, it's easy to tell which ones are faked and which ones are not. There's still some of them that I can't tell. I'm like, well, maybe not. But most of them I can say, okay, I can see how this was faked and this and that. Then other ones, a lot of aftermath shots, are real. There was an accident. They're coming to show the aftermath of the accident. You know what I mean? So, I mean, but she wanted more. She was like, oh, that's it, this and this. She was like, because I have part 2 and 3 coming because the box arts are a classic for me and I got them. So she goes, well, is it going to be more of the same? Is there going to be a lot of fake ones or is it going to be more real gore? I said, it's probably going to be more of the same. Dude,
you're worried about my fucking mannequin down here, Brandon. You get this?
I showed her the Prowler. On New Year's Eve because I'm trying to think of movies with great gore kills in it. You know, so she has the appreciation that we had at that age. She wants to see all the great gore gags, and I'm so happy about it. So, and something else about Frankie, she made me so proud yesterday because she's into the show. It's called Invader Zim, and you can't get it anywhere like streaming for free anymore. It used to be able to. She had it somewhere. It's gone now. So she had the option to buy each season for $10. There's 3 seasons, each of them on Amazon for $10 each, right? Or we could go and search around for the DVDs or something. So yesterday I asked her, she goes, Dick, I want to give you the money, and then can you order these from Prime or Amazon or eBay or Amazon? And I was like, yeah, no problem. I go, well, which one do you want? Do you want the ones that I could purchase to stream on Prime, or do you want to get the DVDs? And she's like, oh no, she goes, I'd rather have the physical. And I was like, wow. I said,
extra mold, please. Extra mold.
But I mean, seriously, what 14-year-old girl going on 15? Who in that age bracket is going to say they want the physical?
No, that's cool.
Brandon.
It's cool. It's over with. You know what I mean?
The whole thing, yeah. It was great.
It was brilliant. But I mean, seriously, kids our age, they don't even know about freaking DVDs and shit, half of them. They stream. So I have her saying, I want to own it. And she goes, and plus, what if they take it off of Prime Sunday? She goes, you don't really own it. I'm like, look at this girl. You know what I mean? So anyway.
Yeah, how does that work on Amazon? If you purchase something to own and then they lose the rights to it, you lose it, right?
If you don't really own them, you're paying to basically rent it long term. That's the way.
No, but if you get a digital copy, you get. I believe that's yours because it's now. I don't think it could be taken away from your devices or anything like that. You know, when you get the digital copies of that, I believe but I could be wrong. That's why
that's what I wondered. Well, that's what we're kind of talking about.
There's a loophole.
Yeah.
Because there was a big deal made. There was an article that was circling around 2 or 3 months ago saying that Amazon or somebody made the statement that you don't really own them or something, that it's a long-term rental, so to speak, it could disappear. Theoretically, it could go away.
Yeah, because think about it. If Amazon has a falling out with the movie company or something, and they pull, all their movies from it because there's a huge lawsuit, they're going to want them off every Prime streaming.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the ones that you've redeemed and you have the physical copy or the digital copy. I got to think there was a law put into place, but again, I'm speculating that it would be no different than they can't tell me, oh, that's VHS. You can't have that anymore because it's now owned by whatever. You got to send that in for whatever. It's no different. I think that digital copy, not a streaming copy, but the digital copy that I've got with when buying a Blu-ray or whatever, or you buy from iTunes, I think that will be yours to keep indefinitely.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% on that.
Although, what about cancel culture? You don't know. Things could go away. They could find out that one of the cartoonists fucking Invader Zim, fucking raped somebody. Oh, well, can't see that shit.
Or collects mannequin heads.
Well, that's it. But the reality is that although there are 4K still being produced and there is a market, a shrinking, very small market out there, I believe 4K will be the last. They said will be the last physical media we see. They will never go to the 8K extreme or anything beyond that. That's what
I'm happy with Blu-ray. I'm happy with Blu-ray and the occasional 4K.
I just got a 4K the other day. I have not purchased a movie that wasn't a VHS for 2 months. And the only 2 I got were because they were 4K sales. Gremlins for 4K was on sale in December for $9.99. So for that price, I'm going to buy it. I did. You know what I mean? But I didn't get to watching it, which sucks. I guess it'll be next Christmas season, whatever. And then the other day, somebody put up a thing in Ex Machina for $7.50, which I watched for the first time last year and thought it was a great movie. I was like, I do want to see that in 4K. And I don't just blindly buy a 4K. I go and I read the reviews. And if it says it's not really an upgrade from the blue, then I don't spend the money,
I hear the wrench hard at work.
Yeah, the wrench. It could just be that one of the animals had an accident or something, or they could just.
That's a big fucking accident. Then she's been going at it for like an hour.
It's like a horse shit. What the hell's going on here?
They're not supposed to clean on Sundays,
Dave, did you
so I
bring
don't
a
know
horse
what's
home?
going on.
Dave went past a farm and took a horse. He's like, "Oh man, this horse doesn't want to be here. Let me take this horse. I'm gonna call you Lucky Horse."
And we're gonna race them,
Oh,
Lucky. nice.
Should we talk about Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, the movie edition?
Yeah, there we go.
Why not?
Yeah, so this was the final segment in the movie. This one had the opening narration by Burgess Meredith, which was cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And then, of course, it had the archived Rod Serling at the end. And this one has John Lithgow as John Valentine. There's no sort of introduction to this. I mean, it just takes place. It opens up with him in the bathroom. In the bathroom, though, freaking out.
You can feel it, the way it's filmed, the way it's shot.
It's very creepy, yeah.
Doesn't it feel like it's like, you know what it kind of reminds you of? Like somebody that would be messed up on alcohol about to vomit. It's like you can feel it. Like you ever like get sick from booze and the way, you know, you got, I don't know, it just has that feel to me. Like you can feel what this poor bastard's feeling at the moment. Ugh. Man. And you know the girl that knocks at his door? Or not the girl, not the oh my God, not her, by the way. Freaking Donna Dixon. Oh my God, she's beautiful. But anyway, not neither of the two stewardesses, but the other lady, the third woman. One of these cats is doing something down here crazy. I don't know what they're doing. But the third woman that's at the door and says, at the bathroom door says, is everything okay or what's going on? Something like that. That is Carol Serling. That's Rod Serling's wife.
Oh, is it? Cool.
Didn't know cameo that. Action. Yeah. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, a lot of... like a love letter to the series, obviously, this movie. John Lithgow, who I like, is fun, but I can't say he doesn't overact, but that's part of the charm of the role. I mean, it's very flashy. I was more intrigued by seeing the girl from Cloak and Dagger
Hell yeah.
Cloak and Dagger, because I think she should have been in a lot more things, man.
Used to be a normal person.
Yeah.
Yeah, you big silly. You used to be a normal person. Oh, she's hysterical. That's her? She's on a show now?
No. It was a movie that came out, one of my favorite childhood movies came out the year after.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
I don't know.
Cloak and Dagger was great with Dabney Coleman.
Yeah, man.
Oh, really? I love Dabney Coleman.
But she hasn't been in anything since. Or she's been in very little.
A handful of things and then kind of
really?
Vanished. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I love her in this one. NOSMOKING. No smoking.
She got the camera, she's got the freaking dummy. I like when the air marshal all of a sudden when they're hitting turbulence is holding the dummy.
Yeah.
He's like
He is.
It's very comical. Even when the captain comes online, it's like, we might hit some uh-ohs and some whoopsie daisies up here. Like, what? Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And this is like a mad scientist one, because I mean he's obviously a computer genius. He references that he wrote that book on that textbook. And
microchip biology.
Yeah, the microchip biology. Yeah, and he's yelling out all these crazy stats and stuff, and he's just clearly having a massive panic attack. And
yeah,
the gremlin's pretty creepy in this.
Oh, it's
great.
Like,
this is the best gremlin. This is the best.
You know
gremlin
who made it, right?
Pardon?
You know who made that gremlin? You know who the effects artist was for the movie?
Was it Rick Baker?
No,
I don't know.
Close though. It was Rob Bottin.
Okay, that would have been my second guess, but
right. Yeah.
The only part that looks silly with the gremlin, but it's still cool, is when he's ripping out the part of the plane and he turns to look at Lithgow. It looks like he's like rocking, like, yeah, I'm gonna rock.
He does. Yeah. He does it on purpose. He raises this. He's taunting him. I love that. He goes, he holds it up and he's like, yeah, he's having fun. He's teasing him the same way the other one was. I always loved it.
I love it, but it still looks like he's about to shred like a ridiculous guitar solo. Like he does, like I swear, like I'm surprised somebody hasn't put that scene to like an awesome guitar solo. Like that's what it looks like. I love it though. This is the creepiest gremlin by far, hands down.
Oh,
yes. Oh, he's great.
I agree on that. I agree. The scare at the window is we expect it, but it actually works better than the original. And again, I just based on the reality of, I guess, not focusing on the face as much and the Monchi having eye makeup and looking like it's sniffling, got like allergy problems and whatnot. Like this, it's just the way that they do it. Again, it's more modern. It's quicker. So it worked in that regard. I get it. Maybe the storytelling's not quite the same. However, this is just a faster paced, fun version of the story, for sure.
Yeah, with some lighthearted comedy and some unintentional comedy. I think in some cases.
Dude, they up the sweating factor in this one, because in the original you notice that that what's his name, that Shatner does, like, as the tension builds, you can see the sweat like building in his face. And this one, fucking Lithgow looks like an airplane, like he threw the water on his face, like he is drenched.
For sure. Yeah, poor bastard.
And dude, when they hit turbulence, did you notice the old couple behind him? The old guy, he's trying to drink.
Oh,
he's got the drink in his hand.
That's like
my drink.
I don't know if they did that as accidental or if it's just bad acting, but it's accidental comedy, as Dave always says.
Oh, it's hilarious. They're, like, crashing, and he's like. It was a lot more like
don't drink
than I thought.
Yeah. How about the guy who's talking? Oh, you wait a minute. He goes, I saw him. He was in the backyard. Him and his wife. And he said, oh, well, you've got to humor them. He said.
Yeah, and that was kind of a nod to the original, like what the flight navigator did when he tried to like patronize him by telling him, yeah, I see him too.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, there's some funny, but there's also some creepy. The very first time you see him, I don't know if I didn't realize it till this time watching it, but the very first time he looks out and he sees the gremlin on the thing, he's crawling across the wing.
Yeah.
See, on all fours. I never noticed that. I never picked up because it's kind of dark, you know. I never picked up on it before. Now with, you know, probably because of my television and it being a Blu-ray, it's like if you were to watch it in a VHS, you may not even see him in that scene at all. Period. You know what I mean?
Just like
now
Michael in the car in Halloween. Remember, Brandon? I didn't even see Michael until I got the 4K.
His favorite movie of all time. One of the most iconic scenes. Didn't even know Michael was in it.
What about Muffin? It took me to a Blu-ray to see that it was actually a dog, and that there was something besides feathers and teeth. Because that's what it looked like to me. Big fucking feathers.
It was a fucking shredded. It was a shredded pelican.
I was like, why is that a dog? I'm telling you, it's the same thing.
Oh man.
Nowadays we can see it all, and that's the beauty of high def, you know. Don't tell me I'm the only guy. I'm sure other people couldn't tell that it was Muffin, and that wasn't freaking.
Yeah, he was green and slimy.
I thought it was Gordon before I even knew who Gordon was.
Gordon, the suicidal dog. Oh shit! How about at the end though? That same guy, when he's like, "What the hell was he saying?" No, it wasn't the same guy. It was the other dude. The guy, the heavyset dude that was.
The FAA guy. No, that was my gun.
Yeah, that was my gun. He goes, wait a minute. They would rather crash than stay up there. I've seen it happen. I don't know if it's supposed to be funny. To me, it's funny. You know?
No, he's very comical. Like, he had a gun on board. No, that was my gun he had.
Oh, God.
Is that at the end when they're talking about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
As they're kind of panning out. Because this one is, again, it shows the wreckage at the end, correct? On the plane? I'm getting them all mixed up.
Toledo.
Toledo, yeah.
I always remember.
But not a happy ending, this one, because they don't know what happened, but he's not going to be redeemed in this one.
No,
in fact, in this one, he's lost deeper into the Twilight Zone, as evident by, Dan Aykroyd driving the.
Yes.
I love Credence.
Yeah. Wait, what's that? Oh, I love Credence. I always love the way he says that. Hey, that's. I love Credence. Oh shit! You want to see something really scary? Oh, it's great.
And then the music kicking on, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he married that girl, the girl that I was talking about earlier, Donna Dixon, the blonde girl, the stewardess, because she was the year before, or was it the year after? Either way, she was also in Dr. Detroit with him. She was one of the girls in Dr. Detroit, and I think they got married. I could be wrong. It could have been another girl. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I would have married her back then. Ooh-wee. Anyway, yeah. The score, Jerry Goldsmith. I mean, geez, that's something the other ones don't have. This is the only one that has a really good score, throughout. Although Shadow, I thought was pretty good, the movie. But I mean, as far as
the
episodes,
score in Shadow's fantastic. That's probably the best
Yes.
thing about the movie. And I'm not saying I didn't enjoy. I'm just saying that definitely stood out. There was like beautiful. There's shades of Phantasm in it. We'll get to that too.
yeah,
Phantasm.
Yeah,
Phantasm.
it's real.
I don't know how it's
Phantasm. That's the French version.
Phantasm.
Phantasm.
Oh, Gigi.
Mon chichi, fantasime. Fantasime. Oh, it's fantasime.
I deserve that. Holy shit.
Yeah, mon chichi best. I thought the original, I mean, obviously it doesn't have music, but I think that they used like the sound design really well with the building of the tension and stuff in the old school one. This
True.
one, I do agree, does have a really good score and stuff like that. And
It's got those
I love-
strings in it.
Yeah. I love
the
when he opens the newspaper and just says 437 dead in airline disaster.
Yeah.
Who would put that paper on an airplane?
Oh, well, but you're saying back it was more of an issue back in the day. Now you're saying nowadays they wouldn't have any of that. Are you kidding me? You could be watching a show with nudity, a plane crash, anything. You can watch that. Like back in the day, they would never show Airplane or Airport 77 on a plane. Now you can watch it with no problem. No one cares anymore. So it's funny how certain things have gotten more lenient over the years, but then other things are definitely more strict. But you're right. Like there's no way that they would even allow that newspaper on that plane if there was a headline like that.
No. How about in the movie Airplane when they're showing a movie?
The thing explodes. I think it's taking off and it just explodes. It's like the biggest fireball you've ever seen.
That just reminded me of Freaked, a comedy that I absolutely love with Alex Winter, and like you just see a plane coming in and landing and it just explodes, and then you hear them talking and it just cuts to them going, "Sure glad that wasn't our plane," but it's just because of the way it's edited. It's comedy genius.
Speaking of old comedy, this is completely off topic, but I've been thinking about this movie all year because of another horror movie that came out. But there was a comedy in the 80s. It was called Young Doctors in Love. Are either of you guys familiar with this movie?
Yes, I always used to be intrigued by that. That, and I don't know why the other one was Teachers, with the apple on the desk with the wick. It looks like a piece of dynamite being lit. And for whatever reason, Young Doctors in Love and Teachers are two movies that I remember just the boxes of and wondering, what is that about? That seems...
Oh, you never watched it?
I don't think I ever saw it, but I always thought it would be... Yeah. Was there lots of
Danny
sex?
Coleman movie. Never saw it.
No, Young Doctors in Love was like it was almost like they were spoofing like General Hospital or something like that. But it was R-rated. It was a sex comedy type.
Yeah,
it was
it's a parody.
Oh, dude.
I thought it was an actual, okay. I thought it was like an actual
not been
romance.
released. No. What'd you say, C?
A romance, like a.
Oh, no. It was
yeah.
No, not at all. It was a comedy. It was
like Mon
raunchy.
Chichi.
And it would always be on late at night. It was almost like watching Hot Dog the movie or something like that.
Okay.
Not as raunchy because it was parody style, but they did have some stuff. And I used to see it when I was a kid all the time. And there's a line in the movie. The reason I was reminded of it this year is because of that movie, Uncle Peckerhead. And there's a line in the movie, and I always, because it's the guy that's narrating the movie. And in the movie, he says, so-and-so ended up getting married and having a kid. And he goes, they called the kid Peckerhead. And I always remember that line. So ever since I saw Uncle Peckerhead, every time I see Uncle Peckerhead, I hear that in my head. They called the kid Peckerhead, you know? But I started looking this movie up. Young Doctors in Love has never gotten any release on physical media. I mean, maybe VHS. I don't know, but I mean, modern, nothing.
There's a lot of these like sort of like sought after like 80s, 90s, early 90s comedies that didn't get releases.
That could be a day one buy. That could be something to get excited for. Not just because it's the first time on on Blu-ray, because it's a quality movie that no one's seen in 30 years that we know is a good movie. It's not a blind buy. You know what I mean? I don't believe in a day one blind buy. I believe in a day one buy. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. I'm waiting.
I hear you. I'm saying I looked at the cover again and I remember it. No, there's a Blu-ray.
What?
$29.99. There's a VHS tape. $6.79,
Maybe it's only in
DVD $19.99, and Blu-ray $29.99.
Might be only in Canada then. It might be,
Import
but
though.
where are you looking this up? Young Doctors.
Amazon.ca. But when I look at the cover now, I'm like, how did I not know it was a comedy? Like, because it's like them in their it looks like a COVID movie because they're all wearing masks and they're kissing on the beach. Like, how can you not think it's a comedy?
Well, I'll tell you what. When I go on Amazon, my Amazon on the app, there is a DVD. Okay, there's just not a blue, but there is a DVD. Young Doctors in Love, and the DVD is $14. Okay, so it is there. Speaking of that, the other day I'm listening to Pink Floyd The Wall, and I'm driving, I'm listening, and I think, man, I haven't watched the movie in a long time.
Oh.
So now check it though. It is not, this one I know for a fact is not released on Blu-ray. I could not buy, because I was thinking, why don't I have this Blu-ray? Because if I don't own Pink Floyd The Wall, something's wrong. Maybe it's really expensive. So I go to Blu-ray.com, I put it in, Pink Floyd The Wall, no release date. How the hell? It's music too. You know what I mean? In a movie,
that's crazy.
It's shocking.
I mean, they had Laserdisc because I had it on Laserdisc.
Are you collecting the Friday the 13th Laserdisc?
There's a DVD of Pink Floyd The Wall. DVD.
I understand there's a DVD. I mean,
Blu-ray.
I want high def because it's the music and the visuals of it.
I used to love that too, man. Yeah.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean to sidetrack this too much, but whatever. Who cares? You know.
You can't say much about these episodes. It's weird. You can't, like, what's there to say? As good as they are, they're so quick.
Right.
They're 20-minute segments, and
right.
They are.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Most of the feedback we get when we do our show, in case you guys haven't noticed, is about other stuff that isn't the movie. It's all the stuff we sidetrack on.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty over reviewing movies anyway.
Yeah,
I like sidetracking.
Me too, and I think if people like it, then so be it. We will continue to sidetrack, especially now with the new format, the new old format. But yeah. I don't know. What else can we say? I do love when he finally has the encounter with the gremlin. When he gets out,
and he
first grabs his face. Dude, he gets on the bonnet or claw. He freaking gets out there, and then he wags his finger like that, and the music they're playing, and then runs, and then fucking jumps and flies off, and you're like, he's off to freaking, destroy the friendly skies. I love it.
Dude, that was cool. That was really cool. He should have taken a fucking, as a man of science, he should have taken a little sample of what he left on his lip, though. This way he could have proved he's not crazy. I would have been like, get me a Petri dish right now. You left a lot of goo on him.
He did. He was slimy.
Run the DNA on this. It's not human.
He's not human. Yes.
It is funny the way they pretend to be sucked out of the plane in this and the original.
Oh yeah. Oh!
Well, I guess that would happen, but it's just too comical.
No, it would happen, but I feel like the whole plane would rip open, and like a lot of people would be sucked out. Where in this, it's like one guy's like pulling him back in, holding his legs.
Oh, man.
And the fact that they chose that heavy set guy who's just sweating and so out of shape to be the air marshal is just hilarious.
Right? Usually need some scrub sitting there on the plane. Then for some reason that little girl sitting next to him, it's not even his daughter. Or her mom's a piece of garbage freaking over there with her headphones on sleeping. Everybody else has to take care of her.
What did she do now?
Right. Yes, exactly. All freaking pilled up or something. I don't know.
That's how I would be. I'd be all pilled up if I was flying. That's the only way that I know how to fly.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll fly. I'm not scared anymore. I used to be. I used to have a fear of it, but now I'll get on, take 2 or 3 Ambien. Wake me when we get there, and if we don't get there, I won't know.
It's a half-an-hour flight.
I've only slept one time on a plane, one time only, and I've flown hundreds of times. But I don't sleep. I can't sleep just unless it's nighttime. I just can't.
I'm the opposite. I can barely stay awake, even during the daytime.
Really? And I just mentioned this the other day in a chat, and they weren't believing me. I'm like, no, I'm not trying to say this for attention or for shock value or anything. This is a fact. As an adult, I have not fallen asleep. I do not sit on the couch and watch TV and doze. I don't do anything and fall asleep. It's happened once in my life, and I can tell you when it is.
Every night.
It's watching. Never. It doesn't happen to me. My mind doesn't work that way. So it happened watching New Nightmare, and I believe that's what I remember because it was funny. I was watching it for a podcast for Skeleton Crew. I want to say it was 2015 or 14. Either way, I was watching New Nightmare, and I fell asleep in the second half of it, and I woke up later, and I went to bed, and then I finished it the next day. That is the only time in my adult life that I have fallen asleep and not gone up to a bed, laid down, and made myself go to sleep. It does not happen. It's never a matter of I haven't taken a nap since probably 1972.
A 2-hour nap yesterday.
1972.
Since I've been 6 months old. My mother told me, she goes, you haven't napped since you're 6 months old. And funny enough, my daughter, who's almost 15, she has also not napped since she's been 6 months old.
1972.
I fucking love napping.
Dude, I nap all
I
the
think
time.
it makes you old. I think napping makes you get old. And check this, though. If I do nap, the
What?
few times I tried, it's a
More
shortcut to
sleep
getting-
ages you.
Yes, in the afternoon sleep ages you. Yes, that's what old folks do. So this is what it is. When I used to try to nap, when I used to go to college, right after high school, I would go to college, and sometimes, you get out of college at like 1 in the afternoon, and I was still living with my parents. So I would get home at like 1, and then sometimes I would work later. I would try to take a nap. So I would lay down in my bed, try to nap. I would fall asleep for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and this also is no lie. And sometimes it still happens, because the only time I can nap is when I'm sick. If I have a fever, I don't count that as napping. I'm sick. So outside of being sick, let me rephrase what I already said. I won't fall asleep or take a nap. But if I have a high fever and I'm in and out of sleep for a couple of days, that's it. But this used to always happen to me. If I attempt to sleep in the afternoon at all, this is not a lie. I will go to sleep and I will have these dreams, and in the dream, I am telling myself that I have to pull myself out of the dream or I'm going to die. And I can literally feel this as I'm sleeping, me pulling myself, and it's weird. I feel myself rising back to wake up, and then I wake up.
What are you, a loaf of bread? He feels himself rising?
He's in The Exorcist too. I just want to make sure that people realize that this show's not science. Dave talking about sleep aging you is the equivalent of saying 5G is what created coronavirus. So let's just not take that as scientific fact.
It's a shortcut to getting old. Anybody that just can't freaking. That's why look at me. I'm 48. Look at me. Do I look like anyway? This is what I'm telling you. It's a shortcut to getting old, just like country music is. This is what happens. People that used to be young that listen to rap, and then all of a sudden they get in their 40s, they start listening to country. That's a shortcut to getting old. That aids you in getting old. Admitting that you're old and saying, "Oh, I'm too old for this," that is also getting old. Or saying, "I feel old." That will aid your aging process. And again, if you don't go to bed at night and sleep your 7 hours, whatever plus, at one sitting, or instead sleep for 5 or 6 hours and then nap in the afternoon, that will age you. Your sleep is not supposed to be broken up that way. And that will age you.
And scientists just concluded that the passage of time will also contribute to you aging.
Age is a number. It doesn't exist. Time doesn't even exist, if you think about it. It's all man-made. Here we are existing.
This is what happens when you listen to Fish.
Yeah. He's gone down a fish hole here. Go.
Time does not age.
You're like Kenny.
I'm in the fucking Twilight Zone right now.
Fresh fish. Who did that? Who did that?
That's why I'm still a kid. I'm telling you, unless I get sick, I will not get old. It's not going to happen. I won't let it happen. It's all a state of mind, all of it. And napping will get you old. And falling, because look at who falls asleep on the couch? Old people. You know it's true. You think a teenager falls asleep on the couch?
Yeah.
Fuck no. Kids don't do it. People.
I'd say half of our audience naps, at least. I'd say 3/4, if not 98%
I think half
of them
our
nap.
audience is napping right now. Listening to us.
Wake up! Wake up! You're driving home from work.
Did you ever see that commercial, that Enterprise Rent-A-Car commercial? You might remember this one, Dave. It's not that old. It's probably like maybe 15 years old, where they're coming up with ideas on how they can make Enterprise better. And one of the person recommends aromatherapy candles. And then they show the rent-a-car, and all 4 people are fast asleep in the car because the aromatherapy puts us to sleep. And then the car veers off the road.
No, that's funny though.
Oh,
Wow.
it's hilarious. I love that commercial.
Wow. So what happens if it veers off the road? Are they dead? I mean,
Yeah,
what
you just see the car veer off the road, and you just assume they crashed and died, and then like,
Wow.
maybe, and then they go back to like the board meeting. They're like, maybe not such a good idea. It's them thinking about it.
Oh, it was an idea. I thought it was actually a commercial.
No,
and that
they're-
was the end.
No, they're like in like a meeting, enterprise running
Right.
car officials. They're
They're
like, how about
brainstorming.
they're brainstorming. How about aromatherapy candles? And then they picture 4 guys in a car, the drivers, everyone's fast asleep with the aromatherapy candles burning, and then it just swerves off the road. And then they're like back in the boardroom. Maybe not such a good idea.
That's funny, man.
All right, 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. I say 9 out of 10.
And I'm right there with the original 6.5.
Jesus, this fucking grump over here. Maybe we should start reviewing Doctor Who over here.
Doctor Who.
Dr. Kelly Who.
Dr. Kelly Who.
All right, let's go into Christian's favorite Twilight Zone episode, Nightmare at 30,000 Feet.
Hey, when we make our movie, do you think we can get Kelly Who to be in it? Like a little cameo?
She can play me, because I'm not being in it.
The Exploding Heads podcast featuring
We actually needed some
Christian.
female content, so that's perfect.
Kelly.
Featured a much sexier Brandon.
Kelly Who as Brandon. I thought it was going to be Moods, or Moods' father, right? What
But
was it?
he's not.
Yeah, Moose's
female.
father.
Oh, Lordy.
Okay, so this one's directed by Greg Yatanis. I think that's how you say his name, and stars Adam Scott. A journalist finds an MP3 player with a true crime podcast that details how the airplane he is currently on will disappear. And it's called Nightmare at 30,000 Feet, so it's 10,000 feet higher, which automatically makes it scarier.
Well, it's just the reality of that usually you're not flying at 20,000 feet. But the reason I like Adam Scott, so I like the introduction. I liked everything about this. I liked the podcast idea. I liked that it was.
I agree.
He's like, this is detailing what's happening. I liked all of it. Yes, it gets crazy when they crash land for that last little scare. But if that's what you're basing this whole your whole review on, then that's not really fair either. I mean,
I have some questions because I was a little confused by this one, but I'll just start off with right at the opening scene. Not that I'm not gonna nitpick this. I just think it's funny when they're at the magazine stand, at the newsstand. Like, why are they both like, oh no, you take it, no, you take it? Like, there's 10,000 copies of the magazine. Why are they arguing over the same one copy?
I don't know.
I agree. Well,
yeah, I was thinking the same thing. That is stupid too. And can you, like, I mean, just, yeah, here, I'll buy it for you because I wrote it, whatever. Fine.
It was lazy screenwriting because it was a way to introduce the idea that he wrote the book or the magazine, just like the guy in the movie wrote the book. It was a lazy thing.
It's so weird because they could easily just had him going, like, reaching for the copy and they both kind of reached in. It's like, wait, this is you. They could have just simply done it right there and not had to worry about that whole exchange. So, yeah, I agree. That was odd, but forgivable. I mean, and then it was just a way to introduce them initially. But I do like the way it progressed with the podcast and how
The podcast was cool.
He should have tried harder to have somebody listen. That's my big problem. He tries right away with the one person, and he says something about, I don't want cooties or whatever the hell he said.
Lice.
Whatever, lice. So he goes away. Now, before you're acting like a fool and saying all these things and pissing everybody off, why not sit one person down and say, listen, would you please do me a favor? Just go to the beginning of this. Obviously, this is 10:15. I like what he says in the beginning. That happens to me and my wife all the time, and I would say that. I go, what are the odds of that? Because, it's 10:15. Yeah. The flight is 10:15. The date is 10:15, and so is the time. That's cool. So literally, as soon as he puts the tape in or the podcast, whatever, he starts playing and listening, and it said the flight at 10:15, he doesn't even sell. He doesn't even react, which I thought was stupid. Right away, he should have raised his eyebrows and said 10:15, another one. But he didn't. He didn't notice it until like 30 seconds later. But wouldn't you just say, hey, listen, and I always complain about when people do this in movies, when there's a crisis and they don't do what I would do, take the time. I don't like to say that. I'm like,
it's like pretty much any comedy movie, like Meet the Fockers or Meet the Parents. Those are what drive me crazy because I'm like, every situation here is avoidable if you just say, let's take a second here. Let me explain myself. And that the whole movie's based on that. And so I get you. I hear you on that. I don't know why I went to Meet the Parents, but that's the movie that pissed me off.
That's
like
fine.
that style of comedy.
Hey, Foster.
I didn't notice, but I believe you. I get you. But why not just say, hey, listen, I want you. Do you have a second, flight attendant? Could you have just a second, miss? Sit down here. Let me start this from the beginning. Would you listen to this? I think something might be off, but I want you to hear what they're saying. This is awfully odd. Don't say anything about this has happened. I'm bugging out. Just say, do you have like 30 seconds to listen? I want you to listen to this and tell me what they say. And that's it. That's all you had to do to any person at any time. And instead, he acts a fool. That's my first major complaint. So
I thought they were going to have somebody listen to it. Sorry, Christian. I thought they were going to have somebody listen to it, and it turns out that they're not hearing the same thing. But they never even had
that would have been great. That's what I was just going to say. Or there's nothing. It's like,
yeah,
dude, I don't hear anything. Done. And
hinted.
it's just for his ear. That would have been fine. Or and the other thing, Dave, to add on to that is what MP3 players are using. It's like wood embroidered. Like it's just like, and like, why doesn't it have a speaker? Like if I was listening on my iPhone, I'd go, okay, you don't want cooties or lights? Here, listen. And then I have my speaker. And so I agree. Those are a little bit of annoyances upon, I kind of thought about it there, just like the magazine poll. I didn't let it bother me because I was like, this is better than I expected. Because all I heard about the new Twilight Zone, it was that it was shit. I didn't even know a second season existed. So I didn't even check it out. I just heard it was garbage. And so then I watched this. I'm like, this made me say, maybe I'll check out some of these other ones as well.
Dude, it built the suspense really well. I like the investigative part. I like it building. I like him investigating, obviously, the two Sikh guys, the Russian guys who he thinks are the witness protection guys. I like that it builds. Ultimately, where it goes in the last, 7-8 minutes from when this Joe character takes over the plane, that's where I'm confused. Who the hell is Joe? Why did he take over the plane? Is he real? Is he even real?
Well, I think he's the gremlin. I think he's the gremlin in this. And what happened was, I think he's just a terrorist. So I think he's like a disgruntled ex-employee and decided to take control of the plane. But I think he's become the formation of the gremlin.
Okay.
Of the new version. Pardon?
He goes in the cockpit. Says what he's going to say, which, by the way, as soon as the switch was made, I knew that's where it was going to go. So that kind of bothered me that I predicted that the whole Goodnight New York was still going to happen. But, I mean, that happens. Doesn't he get in there and talk to the people as he's flying and then fall asleep?
He lowers that air
cabin pressure. Yeah, so they all pass out, except for Adam Scott, who has the gas mask.
So I don't think that makes him a terrorist. I think that I don't know what it makes him.
Well, he crashes the plane.
You think he intentionally
I believe he's disgruntled. He talks about all the mistakes he's making. He's drinking throughout. I was just questioning whether he's real or not because he's moving throughout the plane the whole time and nobody's questioning him or anything.
Well, we don't really get closure on that because after the plane crashes and Adam Scott awakes and he's still playing that tape, then you find out that everybody's blaming him, not this guy that went into the cockpit to take over the plane.
Even though they had access to watch the cockpit, they talked about the cameras, the computer monitors of the cockpit, and they could see. They should be able to have seen Joe beating the shit out of this guy. So Joe, obviously, if he was real, died in the crash. If he's not real, then it was Adam Scott who completely lost his mind and stormed the cockpit and crashed the plane, and that's why they kill him. And have you ever seen a plane crash like that where every single person is alive?
Well, here's the thing. I think
and in fighting shape.
That's true. Yeah, that is.
Where you're saying the original stories, which I won't argue against, are more about the human condition or about the man. This one is taking what I think the general public think the Twilight Zone is, where anything can happen and any weirdness can be explained, quote unquote, because you're in the Twilight Zone. And I think that's where maybe this new series went and kind of took the ideas from, but then feels like they have carte blanche and they can go into a weird realm.
I could be less harsh on it with that explanation. That makes sense. But I still can't wrap my head around what I want to make of it. Even though I could suspend all disbelief, if Joe was real and he died in the crash, how come the other pilots are all of a sudden walking out and part of the crowd that's beating the shit out of beating the shit out of Justin Sanderson's character. You know, but I just didn't like the way it ended.
Well, that's it. You're taking it. They're saying that they couldn't find him. Every other passenger was accounted for, meaning then Joe was maybe not there, like, because he's not accounted for because he's not there, but they beat the shit out of him and hit his body, which is hard to believe because that's essentially saying that they were all rescued at one point and he was left for dead.
But I will say, I did love
buried or thrown to sea.
I was really into it. I was like, "Oh man, this is great!" You got the countdown with everything.
I was waiting for the gremlin to show. That's what was distracting to me.
Oh, I knew the gremlin wasn't in it because I read that this one doesn't feature a gremlin in it. Yeah, so I knew.
I was blind, so I'm like, okay, how is the gremlin going to tie? And they showed him looking outside 2 or 3 times outside the window. So I thought they were going to build up to it. And I'm not complaining that the gremlin wasn't there, but I'll say this: what you said earlier, see, about people's perception of what the Twilight Zone is. There have been episodes like that in the original Twilight Zone where things just happen for no reason and it's unexplained. They don't always have a twist reveal, and that. Some episodes of the Twilight Zone are just, this happens and the guy ends up here and it's effed up, and then whatever. It is what it is. That's fine. My complaint about this new iteration as a whole is that they're taking the original titles. Okay, and it looks like the next episode is going to be a take, because at the end of this episode there was a commercial for the next one, and they showed the freaking Mystic Seer from Nick of Time, which is one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes, and it looks to me like they're taking ideas that were written for the original, giving them the same title or a similar title, and then it's almost like a remake. When we complain about when movies are remade only in title only, and they completely do something different. So that's a little bit of a beef to me. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to call this that. And it's not so bad in this one because it's still on a plane and there's still scary things happening. But I don't know. If you're going to redo the Twilight Zone, redo it. You know what I mean? Don't give it the old titles and then do this. So I'm a little bit perturbed about that. I do like the presentation. I like Peele when he comes on the screen in the thing and how he comes out. And Peele himself is fine. And his delivery, it's fine. Based on this episode alone, this to me seems like another version of the early 2000s Twilight Zone that came out. It hits and misses, more misses. It's okay. You're never going to touch the original, and the 80s is a very underrated anthology as well. But these last two, it seems kind of similar. And I took it as, they also said at the end on the podcast that he's listening to, that the other people, after 3 months later, just all appeared out of nowhere. Not a lot of explanation there. They're on a desert island. No one's going to find them. So how did they all appear at the same time out of nowhere? And I also took it that I think that they killed the guy. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I thought too. They killed him, but yeah, I mean, again, I didn't have these questions because I was just shocked. Again, presentation. I was like, wow, this is flowing great. Oh, this is good and crazy. I get it. They're taking. I thought they did remake it. Just remake it in the sense of, like, there's no old school Gremlin. It's done a little bit differently, and a slight variation of the title to say, hey, it's not what you had before. We're at 30,000 feet and whatever, because it's slightly different. I thought they did all that. I thought they did justice to all that.
But don't call it that. See, don't call it Nightmare at 30,000 feet. Just because there's a guy on a plane and bad things are happening. Why not have another Twilight Zone episode and call it fucking Podcast from Hell? I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? And just it just so happens to take place on a plane that eventually crashes. By calling it Nightmare at 30,000.
How about MP3 from Hell?
I don't know. I like the variation of it, and maybe it's because I watched this one first and I had no expectations going in because I hadn't heard anything positive about the series. I hadn't even been able to. I didn't make my own opinion of it yet because everything that had been presented that I read or saw was all negative. So I went in not expecting to enjoy it, and I was like, wow. This was really enjoyable. I really like this. So then maybe my questioning of things I kind of let sort of go to the side because I was like, okay, we're in the Twilight Zone. I can buy it enough. I'm in it enough. And I watched it kind of in descending order. So whereas I watched the Lithgow one second and then the original one, thinking that I was saving the best for last. And that's kind of how my mindset went in for watching them. And I ended up enjoying this one the most. I'm not saying it's fantastic, but I'm just saying I enjoyed it the most out of the three.
even with all the things unanswered, what is Jordan Peele trying to say that Justin Sanderson's downfall was? Because they say something about him not investigating inward.
I get that, right.
Well, see, that's the thing. Usually, like, the message, it's like, okay, like, did he have a breakdown and just caused a plane? Was everything, is that what he's saying? Like, oh, like, he's so busy investigating what he's here, he never investigates the idea that maybe none of this is real? Is that what they're trying to say?
Yeah, didn't they also allude that he was also
Yes,
suffering
at
from
the
something
beginning.
in the past as well,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They touch upon
yeah.
that.
And
Yeah.
Yemen, because he travels to all these. He's on his way to Israel. They're going to Tel Aviv. He does all this, like, scary investigative reporting.
Yemen.
Yemen.
Say Yemen.
Moshi Moshi. Moshi Moshi.
That's a new one.
Moshi. What's Moshi Moshi? What's Moshi Moshi?
Nothing. It's nothing, but it is something
I'm telling
now.
you, Moshi Moshi means I'm looking it up right now.
She pork. But yeah, at least I do like the fact that they put that in our heads, like the first one, that he had history and it's his wife again.
Oh, it's a greeting. It's a greeting. In Japanese, it means hello. Moshi Moshi.
Moshi Moshi. Ni hao. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Moshi Moshi. Good call.
I watch a lot of Asian films too, so I always hear like Moshi Moshi.
Moshi Moshi Machishi. Hey, did you guys notice that the first shot we see of Adam Scott right after they show a snow globe? I thought that was a freaking nod to Krampus, like immediately. The last time I
It
saw
may have been. It may have been.
I want to talk to Krampus.
And they do have nice little nods, and that's why I think they do it, just so they can throw out these little Easter eggs. And they have that doll at the end. They have the freaking, they have the Monchishi doll. You know what I mean? On the beach there, and then they have. This makes no sense. I don't know why they would do this. They said Captain Donner, which I get that. Donner, Richard Donner.
Yeah.
Back to the first one. Then later on, they say Captain Beaumont. Now, why would you mention Charles Beaumont, the other writer of the Twilight Zone episodes, one of them, and not Matheson, who wrote this story?
And it's funny. I thought they would put him in with the podcast host because they said his name was Rodman Edwards. So I'm figuring Rod is for Rod Serling. But
Okay.
what's Edwards for? They should have just had like They should have just had Rodman Serling or something.
Well, why not Captain Matheson, since this is
or Rod Matheson as the podcast host.
fine. But Charles Beaumont, who I
Yeah,
adore, another great
weird.
writer, but
It's
why
weird,
put
but
him
I
in-
mean, yeah.
no sense. It is weird. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of, there's like some choices they make in the script that I just don't.
Maybe they already referenced Matheson in another
They
episode.
didn't. I was waiting. Oh, maybe so, but why not? I guess.
You know what I mean? Maybe.
And let's just
Yeah,
go Matheson.
Dave.
Just
We didn't watch the
Beaumont
whole
here.
series.
This is probably Matheson's best known one. Well, maybe not. Hard to say. I mean, he's had some classics. He did like 22 of them, I think. And I don't know. Either way, whatever. I had problems with it. It was fine. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It was fine.
I was entertained until the last third where it fell apart for me, and I'm like, what? And then it just like really had me like, I didn't understand it. I read
That's the next movie.
read about it and stuff. I think the movie's pretty simple, but I read about it and I'm like, I'm not sure I can make sense of this, and I don't know. It was good until it wasn't.
How about when he says to the guy, he goes, "How do you know there's no birds?" He said. He goes, "Did a bird hit the plane? This and that, and the other thing." He goes, "Oh no, there's no birds at this level," or something.
But I love how instantly annoyed the flight attendant is. Like, he's so annoyed by being bothered by it.
Well, the guy, they both are.
Yeah.
The girl, brother, she's a looker herself. But yeah, same thing. They were all annoyed, and I understand because he just kept getting up. And we've all been there. If you worked in customer,
Dude, forget the fact that, like, look, even before we learned that everyone else survived in this one, which makes it even more ridiculous, I am tired of people surviving plane crashes and waking up face down on the beach. No, this does not happen.
I thought it was that show. When I'm not even making a joke. When it first happened, because I never watched the show, I thought they were gonna make this as an intro to that show Lost. Like, cause didn't that happen? Didn't a plane crash someplace and they were on some deserted island? Wasn't
Yeah,
that
but
the
it's just
episode?
so ridiculous to think that from 30,000 feet
Was
you're going to
deserted.
crash at fucking 10,000 miles an hour into the ocean, and then you wake up face down without a scratch on you.
And the plane
And the MP3 players.
crashed.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the ocean. It was in like a freaking a pond.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they'd be dead.
And nobody has a scratch on them. Nobody's hurt. And the MP3 player survived too, resting nicely on a
Right,
rock.
of course.
Still
Yep.
plugged in and still. I don't know why.
I just don't have these kind of complaints about the other ones. It's simple as that. I just don't.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't either.
You know.
And I'll be a little bit more forgiving, like C says, like, okay, anything can happen in the Twilight Zone, but I just can't wrap my head around what the message is or what ultimately is going on here. But I did like Jordan Peele. I don't know if people are complaining about him. I haven't really read much in terms of reviews on it, but I think he does a good job.
It was fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I could do it. Put a suit on me and let me go and do the intro. I think I could be just as freaking creepy. And try to do my Rod Serling.
We don't need a suit on you for it to be creepy. You're just creepy enough right now.
Hey, do you guys know that Steven Spielberg's directorial debut was on Night Gallery? The very first, the pilot, which became the TV show. I just happened to find this out when I was looking at the B.
I didn't know that.
Because the dummy in part 2 that looks like it's actually a W.C. Fields dummy, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't one of the dummies from the Twilight Zone, and it was like an Easter egg in there, and it wasn't. It's W.C. Fields, but I was going through the IMDb, and it said Spielberg, and he hasn't talked to Landis since the movie, and this and that, but then it said Spielberg, his directorial debut was actually the Night Gallery, and then he comes back and does the Twilight Zone, which kind of cool. So he knew Rod Serling.
Oh, I didn't know.
But
So
by the way,
Spielberg.
that doll-
The more interesting thing of that was that Spielberg hasn't talked to Landis since the movie. I didn't know that.
You probably want to distance yourself from other directors that are, killing actors and children.
Friendship bench
Especially
right
when
there. Found out. Yep. Crazy, huh?
Anyway,
Yep,
I
and
gave
then,
this one a 7 out of 10 before we get on to anything else.
How much?
7.
Did you
Oh,
say?
wow.
I thought you said a Steven.
I thought he said something like that too. A Steven.
Steven.
Sea fever. Sea fever. Here I am doing all the. You know what that is? It's Cartman talking about the sea people. Remember that episode of Sea People when he got the, what do you call it? The the brine shrimp. What are those things
Might
called?
know.
Sea monkeys.
I like the
You ever
Christian
saw
might
that
know, and he just
episode?
said no.
He was all excited about the sea monkeys. When you look at the package of sea monkeys, it has them, the way they look isn't what they are, and he was all excited. And he
I
was
think
singing
I do know that one actually.
the sea
All joking
people. So ever since that movie Sea Fever came out, when I saw that title, that's what I always picture in my head. Sea Fever, Anyway, all this talking and all me picking it apart, I end up giving it a 6.5 out of 10 still. So
Yeah, that's where I am. 6.5.
I thought C was coming in at a 9 the way he was talking.
Oh, I liked it the best. All of them have like the ups and downs. I get again like 2 6.5s and a 7.
You're not a Twilight Zone guy.
It's all
Did you say
right.
Twilight Zone?
Yeah, the Toilet Zone. I love.
Yeah, we should do it. The Toilet Zone. That should be our movie. It is going to be a UH.
How can it be our movie when it's already our podcast?
Tales from the Toilet Zone.
Oh man.
That's what we should call real bad episodes of the Twilight Zone. That was actually the Toilet Zone, that episode. I want to have a podcast just so we can say that. Let's start a sidecast and call it the Toilet Zone.
Oh.
Right on top of that there.
I don't know
So
what
into
the
it.
hell that was. Is that what you did?
I'm tired. I'm ready for my afternoon nap. Although it's not
Oh, I'm
afternoon.
right there with you. 2 beautiful hours.
Christian and I are looking forward to getting old this afternoon.
I can't wait to age 2 hours.
You'll wake up, you'll have another touch of a wrinkle coming in, a crow's nest. That's how it begins. I'm telling you.
As long as it's not a shrew's nest that we have to review.
Yeah, back to that. Oh, we have an email. I forgot about that. We have something. But
Mushy mushy!
almost. I'll tell you when I'll point.
Mushy mushy!
Say it now. We've got it showing on our end.
Yeah, I saw it pop up, but then I saw it click again.
Moshi. He just kept saying Moshi,
Moshi.
Moshi.
Mushy mushy.
Mushy.
I think that might be my new intro.
Your new intro. Moshi Moshi, why not? If we can just get a good outro, we'll be okay.
Fuck that
Moshi,
Finnish
Moshi.
fuck. That's what
Fuck
I
that
was.
Finnish fuck. Fuck that Finnish fuck.
Yeah.
FTFF.
You're gonna be motherfucking somebody in a minute, maybe after this email. Well, no. We have a message, huh?
Listeners, FTFF. If you can tell me what this stands for, it'd be greatly appreciated. Mushy mushy.
I was winning the top list for about a day, and then suddenly Brandon took the lead.
No, I think you won it, Christian.
No. Oh, that's right. If we're talking about a poll, I believe the last time I looked, it was 11 for C and 10 for B and 10 for me. And Watson had like 4 or something.
Yeah, I think Christian won.
Oh, I didn't check it recently. Brandon, you were in the lead the last time I checked. I am in the lead.
And
it's the closest one ever.
We're pretty much. Yourself. And you didn't vote for yourself.
I didn't vote for myself.
Dave and I each voted for ourselves.
I voted for myself because you got ahead of me, and I looked. I go, "How'd this happen?" I go, "He voted for himself." Well, I'm gonna vote for me now. So that's why I did it.
I know. I saw that. But Christian, you won.
Well, I mean, this was the most even.
Victory for me because I recommended a movie that you had at your number 1, and you put a bunch of non-horror films on your list. So.
Yeah, I just want to say once again that I've got the listener's ear. Marco shockingly agrees with me, and I'm kidding. I actually don't know, but ultimately, no, we were probably the most even, Steven. And shockingly, again, as the year progressed, I was like the naysayer of the group, saying I don't really see this year. And once again, the last quarter, the last 4 months actually was probably the last third. Then was like awesome, and then catching up on ones that I hadn't seen. So it ended up being a great year.
It's been a consistent, great 5-6 years since we started this, in terms of new films each year. Every year,
having Watson on the show, even though our listeners obviously don't align with them because you can see it in the polls, it was much better. I joke, and I never look forward to it, but when he's on, I enjoy it.
I never look forward to when he's on either.
This is a good preamble because I have a message to read, and then I have some information from Watson as well. So, because we're going to, talk a little more about 2020. But I wanted to read this message that Shelby sent us on Patreon. So, check it. Hey, boys, just wanted to thank you all for taking a few questions I left for your top 5 show. What an amazing episode. As a fellow Canadian, I was very happy that Christian was so thoroughly prepared for the show. He really represented us well. Unfortunately, he must have thought the top 5 show meant that he only had to prepare 5 answers for the whole damn show. Too bad you didn't consider the replacement host question more seriously. Nice.
That fucking Canadian prick.
It's Shelby. It's a female. Just kidding, of course. He called her a prick. I appreciate all of you guys and the work you do to bring this amazing show together so often. I'm looking forward to another classic year-end show and another 5 years and more of greatness. I hope so. Finally, I have a question I need help answering. Seeing as I'm a fan of 22 Shots as well, I need to know, who is the Jeremy of the Exploding Heads?
Oh. Have we had this question before?
I don't know.
And why would you assume that I thought Shelby was a female? I know I'm friends with a bunch of Shelbys that are guys. A bunch. One.
I would have never. I don't think I've ever heard Shelby as a guy's name.
I heard a Dr. Shelby, but he was a doctor that was a male.
Huh.
Every
it
Shelby
it reminds me of that scene. Edith is a boy's name. The guy's name is Edith. And he kept saying Edith is a boy's name. Blah blah blah. What movie?
What the hell?
What movie is that quote from?
Edith is a boy's name.
Edith is a boy's name.
I don't know. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it does. Ready? 3, 2, 1. It's Ghosted!
It's like your favorite fucking movie.
Oh, you gotta watch Ghost. You really, that should be a January watch. You gotta get to it. I don't think I can wait another year to hear your thoughts on Ghosted.
Maybe it is a ghost. Maybe it can be a January watch. Why not? I don't know.
I might look for Ghosted and watch it.
Oh, maybe Shelby is a guy. Son of a gun. Because it says, Shelby updated his profile picture. Because a profile picture.
Bam! Bam! I don't know what that was.
I can't apologize now because who knows?
All right, so who's the Jeremy of the podcast? I know, obviously, you're going to say it's me because I'm the Jew. But Christian, we all have qualities of Jeremy at certain times. Because Christian will do the let's move this shit along, let's wrap this shit up.
I'm inarticulate.
That's a Jeremy thing that Christian does. Like 5 minutes into the show, he's like, "All right, let's wrap this fucking shit up. I gotta go take a nap."
That's
what
true.
What else does Jeremy do?
I want to know how I have a Jeremy quality. I'm curious.
I'm trying to think. What else is?
Because I like family video and wrestling. That's about it. What do I have in common with Jeremy? I don't know. See, it can't be me. Let's just disqualify me. It's between you two. And Christian also did a segment just like Jeremy's. Dead mail, undead mail. See? I'm going to resurrect it with living dead mail next episode, but...
Not if I have anything to do with it.
Too bad he doesn't edit. Too bad he edits. If he didn't edit, then we could just say he's completely useless like Jeremy. We could just be like, he's Jeremy.
Can I not show up like him? That would be fantastic. Just take a sabbatical for like 6 months and I'm still on the show. And then I just pop up every now and then. Like, if I could do that, that'd be fantastic.
Oh, I'm the fucking Jeremy of the show. We all know it.
You are more Jeremy because also you have a less of a presence online compared to us.
I'm never online.
Does Jeremy have a dad walking around naked in his house?
Oh, Jeremy lives with his... Wait a minute. Who does Jeremy live with?
I think he lives at home.
Okay, he lives at home. That's another one. Bottom line is it's not me, so I don't care. It's between you. Maybe we should bring it to a vote. Maybe Christian win this vote, too.
Jeremy I might not have been prepared, Shelb, but I got the vote of the year.
Shelb, you're such a bitch or a prick. Whatever sex you are, you're either a bitch or a prick.
A bitch prick.
Let's vote on this. Let's put listeners. We need to know a poll. What sex is Shelby?
I think this is what just happened. Listenership of 22 shots on Shelby's list and listenership of exploded heads lowered.
Down we go.
Shelb, we're kidding. I wasn't that prepared for the top 5 list because I thought it was going to be a lot easier, but then it wasn't as easy as I thought, and I just didn't really want to. I really didn't want to put any effort into it.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, I was shamed. Like inside, I'm like, fuck. I really didn't do anything for this show. I wasn't feeling well, but I mean, at the end of the day, I could have prepped.
We deducted it from your Patreon money.
I made up for it. I more than made up for it with my over-analyzing of everything and my talk of toast and everything else. And
oh my God, your talk of toast! I thought you had a stroke with your talk of toast. I thought you were smelling burnt toast.
Oh my Lord!
What's your favorite? I thought I over-prepared because I was thinking I'm like, oh, I'm gonna even do candy corn because that's only around during Halloween. I eat that. These like
you did the candles.
Yeah, top 5. Yeah, Becca. Becca, are you okay? Like, that's the weirdest question I've ever heard. It was a cool question to look into. Really made you think, but I was like, top 5 candles.
Really made you think. That was my problem. I didn't want to think. It was a Christmas show.
My top 5 candles are the first 5 in 16 candles.
Oh my Lord!
Not the last 11. Those.
Can we get to this email on the bottom? So that was one. That was Shelb's.
Yeah. That's correct. Yep. Okay. Now this is from Watson. Okay, so check it out.
Now is Watson male or female? Listen.
This is.
we'll decide after we hear the email.
I thought for sure he was going to send a voice memo. I talked to him a couple of times, but then he ended up falling asleep or something.
Thank
this happened. I don't know what
Christ.
it was.
He must have gotten old when he fell asleep.
I fall asleep early as hell, is what he said. It isn't old.
This guy's got pristine production on everything he does, yet he can't seem to get onto Skype.
I know everything. This is an SC freaking length email, so a message from him. So I should have a little sip of water. Hold on.
I only want to have SC length emails from SC.
Oh shit! Wet that whistle. Remember that was a thing for a while.
Yeah, wet your whistle. I said that, didn't I?
Yeah, but we never talked about it when we talked about like some of our favorite things from the past. I forgot about
You're
wet
right.
the whistle.
Yeah.
Wet the
that
whistle.
Oh,
I just wet the whistle. Okay. All right. Okay, dear awesome Dave Z. Sometimes Jewish Brandon and no one else. Mr. Watson here, and I've got my bottom 5 horror movies from 2020 for you, as well as some quick shout-outs. I had a terrific year watching a lot of great movies, even with this bottom 5. I only hated 2 or 3 of them. Not too shabby. In descending order, here are my least favorite horror flicks of the year, of this last year. Okay. First up is Random Acts of Violence. No movie should be this frustrating and confrontational without knowing what it actually wants to say. What a bummer. All right, C's getting mad. Next is Lake of Death, which is well acted but boring as hell. Nothing happens, and when things do happen, it's really nothing. There were nights last year where I watched nothing at all, and this movie amounts to about the same. Next up is Scare Me. I could have loved this film for its unique presentation, but I wasn't sure which lead character I disliked more. The condescending SJW lady or the beta male dork. If your film hangs its hat on the quality of the characters, how about giving us better characters? Next, I've got Antebellum. I'm not even sure this is a horror movie. This movie is as desperate to be important as Christian is desperate to be a good podcaster.
I'm not remotely desperate to be a good podcaster.
Just be a good editor. Right. Yeah. No one is convinced either way. And last, the worst horror movies I saw in 2020 is Dark Forces.
Wouldn't that be R? Wouldn't that be R? If there's more than one, wouldn't that be R?
Yeah. He did say is. I read it as, you're right. I didn't know you, of course you picked up on it. Is Dark Forces on Netflix.
That movie's
Imagine
terrible.
a giallo that pisses you off and makes you hate it. Now imagine you spend precious time watching this trash. I am not a reviewer who hates on the films I watch, but I also value my time and don't want to see others spend their time on this planet irresponsibly. So don't. Okay. As for shout-outs, some of you out there have been blowing the hell out of Run-A-Pal like you owe it money, and it's good. Glad I caught that. Hunter x Hunter is a total surprise, though, and it deserves your time. Wow. I haven't seen a third act like that since grade school. Let me tell you guys about Hunter x Hunter and the Dave Z method. We were probably offered about 20 screeners throughout the year of 2020. And you know, the only one I looked at, knowing nothing except the title, the picture, and the stars, and a brief synopsis, because that's all you get in those damn things, was Hunter x Hunter, and I accepted it. You're welcome. Okay. Support Exploding Heads, kiddos, because King Dave Z and the other two are giving you the goods. This is what he wrote. New Watt Z party horror show coming soon. You know you want watching
poor listeners.
Yeah. Unless you're allergic to good podcasts. And some of you are. I see who you are in the chats, and it's pathetic. Stop it. All jokes aside, there is no show I enjoy invading more than Exploding Heads. The three of you are my besties, and I love you. There's nothing better to me than talking horror with awesome Dave, Jew guy in Canada. Much love, Mr. Watson.
Jew guy in Canada.
Then he has to sum it up so that we feel like assholes by like tearing him apart. But like here's the reality of it. He can't just. Thank God you read that, because that made it bearable. And then second of all, we got Watsy. Now we got to have horror movie fucking weekly. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I'm so happy because I listen to Horror Movie Weekly anyway, and I never disagree with anybody in my life as a podcaster on his opinions more than Bill Shetty. And now, with the new lineup, and I haven't listened yet because I was behind, but Watson and Shanny Dreadful, who I don't know anything about, but I'm happy about this.
Shanny female or male?
I'm just happy that Watson's on more podcasts, making it harder for him to make time to come onto ours.
Yes. Thanks, D. And B. That's great. And he's wrong about both random acts of violence. I can see. I even said, even though I thoroughly enjoyed it, it was on my top 10, that I could see people being annoyed by some of the messaging in that movie, but it didn't piss me off by any means. I was so along for the ride, and Antebellum was shockingly better than I expected it to be, because so many people were shitting on it, and I'm like, if you bought The Village, you can buy this. And I was like, wow, people are assholes.
I agree. I loved Antebellum, actually.
And check it. I didn't see Antebellum, even though it was my number one. Remember, we had to make a decision last year, and I said, well, I guess I'm going to say, based on this poster and this synopsis, whatever, Antebellum is what I want to see the most. And then everybody shit on it, so I decided not to watch it. And not just that, again, because of the comparison you just made, and so many people on their podcast made, I kind of feel like I've been spoiled because people keep saying The Village. So I'm like, well, now I don't know. I know kind of what to expect, so I'm not going to rush to see it. I will watch it.
And watch it for her performance. I thought she was really good in it, Janelle Monáe.
And and I agree, Brandon. And I agree with Rent-A-Pal. I liked it.
Oh.
I liked it. That was it. Like, but people like Brandon, I know it was on your top 10. I don't want to take it away from anybody because I know people have loved this movie. I just was like, what am I missing? What is bringing it to this level that everybody else is seeing that I like?
Who's everybody?
Well, Brandon, and then Jason Smith loved it as well. You loved it too.
Get that yet.
Jason Smith loved it.
It was in my top 10. Yeah, it's in my top 10.
Yours,
it was
Brandon?
number one. I think Scott or Heather, or maybe both of them had it on theirs.
Heather had it at number one.
You and Heather. I think. No. Do you guys agree on every fucking movie?
Heather did it.
I think that this guy really wants to be the third host of Friday Nightmares.
Heather put it at her number one because I had it at number one.
Yeah, but you guys, every time you show her a movie or she shows you a movie, you love it. You guys have the same taste, I think.
She loves anything I love. She loves me. What can you say? What's not to love? I'm very lovable.
It's true.
I love you too.
He is very lovable.
I think he
spend
really
hours
wants
in that hair.
I'm telling you, I think he wants to leave Exploding Heads and be the third host of Friday Night.
If I leave Exploding Heads, all I'm doing is napping. I'm not podcasting anymore.
Exactly.
I'm
if I leave Exploding Heads, there's no guest spots. I'm out. I'm done.
Nothing. I think he chats with them more. I think they got this marvelous chat. There's no drama chat because I always hear them talk about it. They don't call it the no drama chat. I call it that because I know that Scott and Heather aren't dramatic. But he's got this wonderful chat with them that I think he chats with them more on Messenger than he does us. I think he has this whole beautiful, wonderful world going with these two people. And
why does that matter?
Just enough to admit that I'm jealous. No, I'm jealous. I want to be in B's shoes because he has a great thing going with these fine folks, recommendations. Everything is falling into place for you, B.
Everything's coming up roses.
Yep. And that's what I'm saying. They agree on everything. Heather and him.
Except whatever fell there.
My phone.
It shattered. The screen shattered. I hope it didn't.
No, it's good.
And I'm just busting balls because I love them. Because I love Heather and Scott. And don't get me wrong. If it was a show I didn't like, or people I didn't like, I wouldn't say.
I think it magically moved to Heather's number one spot after she heard that I had it at number one. I'm not accusing her of anything.
No. I listened to that. I believe it was recorded before ours was. You would know. You know everything else about her. When did they record Friday Nightmares End of the Year show?
I think it was after hours. I think it was after hours.
Really? Oh, God, I trust you. I don't know. But then again, they may not have listened. Either way, you guys are in sync. Okay, let's talk about our bottoms then.
Who's JT?
What'd you say?
Nothing important.
JT?
Nothing important.
Who's JT? What's that?
In Sync.
Oh,
JC.
JC?
Oh, Justin Timberlake.
Oh, my.
No, JC. I thought you meant JC.
I thought I fucked it up. I'm like, did I get the wrong boy band? Did I fuck up again? FTFF?
JC was also in Sync. Why do I know that? JC Chazé.
Fuck that finish fuck.
I'm with you.
Well, here's my bottoms. Check it. I don't have a bottom 5 because my lowest 3 rated movies are. Hold on. I have a 6.5, hold on. What do I have here? I'm just gonna have to go by my ratings here because I'm gonna. Does anybody else have a definitive?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead. I'll go last.
The absolute worst of the year was Human Zoo. Just abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was fucking worse.
He didn't have time to prep for an entire episode of the show, but he had time to watch Human Zoo.
Yeah. F the top 5 show. I watched Human Zoo. Nefarious. Nefarious was, again, dreadful. I also didn't like Alone. Now, there's a lot of Alones. This was the Alone where it switches gears halfway through the movie. It's about the woman writer that goes to the house, and then it's like a sub scenario of these kids that show up at the house, and there's a bunch of carnage that happens in the house. I absolutely hated this movie. And then there was Exorcism at 60,000 feet. I may have chuckled once, maybe twice, but the comedy was so cringy that it wasn't even funny on a so bad it's good level. And then I'd round that out. Funny enough, I have Scare Me, and I think it's the same Scare Me that that Watson was talking about, but I'd say it's tied with A Night in Horror, the one where the guy's podcasting and it's an anthology movie. What sort of starts off, I'm like, promising, really turns into a boring, really badly done anthology after like maybe the first episode of it. But Scare Me, again, with the girl that goes and is a writer as well, and they're talking, and they just talk the whole movie, and then the guy that delivers pizza comes in, and then they talk for a big chunk of the movie. That was on Shudder. That one was at my bottom as well.
Wow.
So, what were your ratings? What were your lowest rated films?
Human Zoo and Nefarious for sure. That's like that barely would get like a 1 star. Those two would get like 1 star each. And then Alone would be right, like maybe 1.5, and Exorcism at 50,000 feet, maybe 3 out of 10, that type of thing.
One at 60,000 feet.
I don't have an answer.
60,000.
Good joke. Good joke.
Wow.
It's
Is that
called
what it was
Exorcism.
called?
It's called Exorcism at 60,000 feet.
How
And then
ridiculous.
A Nightmare at what did I say? 50,000.
50,000.
Yeah. Boy, do I want to.
You didn't make it to the end, evidently. Yeah. They went up another 10,000.
And I also just said dead dildo, which is kind of funny, as opposed to a living one. A Night in Horror was. It looked promising. I'm telling you, and they got the lighting. Like, everything seems like you're like, well, I might be in for a treat here in the first 5-10 minutes, but it just goes, just nosedives. But that'd scare me. It's just a bunch of people talking, and then the payoff at the end where it sort of turns Nefarious to title another one of my bottom ones. It's just brutal. It wasn't enjoyable.
That's very divisive. I've heard some people blowing Scare Me, and then I hear you.
I like Scare Me, but it's like a 6 out of 10. Like, I can understand why people hate it. I can understand why people hate it because it's really nothing happens. It's just storytelling. But I like the characters. And again, I didn't really. That's what was on my Letterboxd, because right there with it was that Abracadabra, Get Duked, Castle Freak, In Fabric, The Boy 2, Girl on the Third Floor, and Dark Forces. They were all there, hovering around there.
From last year.
Yeah, well, that's what some people said.
In Fabric and Girl on the Third Floor were last year.
Okay,
Definitely
well then
those two. Yeah.
I'll pop those off the list. Sorry. Jesus Christ.
Well, why don't you try watching the right year? That's watching movies from last year instead of prepping for shows.
In Fabric, I watched this year. I swear it came out this year, but maybe I put it on the
I
wrong
told you
list.
about it last year. Because B said if it was my number one, he was going to leave the show. He thought it might have been my number one.
That's it. You know what? Maybe what happened was because I've deleted this list. I think I mentioned that on the show, and I feverishly was trying to put it all together, and I was looking at what I watched from my 2020 list, and it was probably there. I'm like, oh shit, that's a horror film from there, but it was just something that I watched after the fact because it was, you guys had mentioned it or talked about
Brought it up here. Yeah. Feverishly, huh? Would you say that you had a case of sea fever?
No. Although that one I liked.
How about Night Fever?
Night fever, night fever. Yeah.
Only Saturday. Can you guys just get to your bottom fucking fives?
I'll go now. I'll let B go last because, the guy watched 1,000 movies, so he's probably going to take more time. So and he's a main eventer type of guy. So I had 2 movies that are a 6.5. This is how good my year was. You know, these are my 4 lowest rated movies. I had 2 6.5s, I had a 6, and I had a 5. So I guess I'll start with that. Now, this was not a disappointment to me because it was about what I was expecting it to be. And the funny thing is, I think I liked it more than a lot of other people did. And it wasn't bad. I was fine with it. But Brahms the Boy 2 was a 6.5 for me. Simple as that. How about this one? It was Bill Shetty. If I were to talk about that guy, Bill Shetty, it was his #1 movie of 2020.
What?
What?
The guy's been reviewing horror for a decade, too. How about that?
It's close to bottom 5, and I watched 240 movies this year. It was atrocious.
I was fine with it.
I
don't get the hate.
I didn't hate. It was just. I was indifferent. It was like a 5.5. 5.5.
It was a 6.5 for me. I was fine with it. And the only reason I watched it is because I watched the first one with my family at the theater and watched it once since. So this is when I could get away with watching them. If it wasn't for them, if I was a single man, I would not have even watched Brahms the Boy 2 based on everything I was.
Brahms the Boy
2. You know, I just wouldn't have. So
Brahms the Boy 2.
There's a reason for me to watch that. Now the other 6.5 I watched because of B, because it was one that towards the end he was recommending. 6.5 for the movie Hosts, which wasn't a bad.
I'm shocked you didn't like Hosts. I really thought that was your type of movie, especially since you liked what, The Beach House. That's what I thought of when I recommended that to you.
I saw it in people's top 10 this year.
Yeah,
it makes sense. That's my problem. I had plot hole. Again, it still was a 6.5. It's not a bad movie by any means, but to me there was enough plot holes or things that didn't make sense to me that I was hoping to get. That was the movie that I was mad at. Remember, I told the story last show.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I watched that one movie, Dark whatever Forces or whatever the hell. Dark Encounter. Which, by the way, I want you to watch Close Encounters. That is 100%. If you're gonna call Dark Encounter horror, Close Encounters is much more horrific. The sequences in that movie, and the same thing, a boy gets kidnapped and they're gone, they're looking for him. So if you're going to call that one a horror movie, you've got to call Close Encounters a horror movie because it's scarier and it's the same thing.
You heard it here. Close Encounter is now a horror film.
Not to me, but if you're going to call Dark Encounter horror, you got to call Close Encounters horror. I'm sorry.
I am. It's a horror.
There's no other way around it.
What
so
are
anyway.
you doing, see?
Just tweaking my nipples.
My problem with Hosts is things didn't make any sense. Anyway, I won't get into it. There was just issues with it. They get to the party and nobody says a word. These 2 people get to this party. No one says a word for an hour. Nobody cares. Nobody ever acts that way. Then if they're supposed to be, quote unquote, like pod people or whatever, taken over by somebody else, why were they given this preamble, which would have made sense to their human forms before killing the other people? They get this whole speech about this and that and being, it didn't work. I don't know how people didn't see that. But either way, I was begging in the third act for saying, let something happen to explain my questions, and I'll rate this movie higher. But it didn't happen. So anyway, Host 6.5. Now here's a movie that a lot of people actually liked. And I was going into it with, I don't know, somewhat higher expectations. And it's a movie called Spell. It was just 2 words sum it up, Spell, for me. Generic and predictable. And that's what it was. There was a really good performance, but ultimately it was. Did you guys see Spell?
No.
I did.
I did not.
I did. Yes.
Generic and predictable. What did you give it?
I gave it an 8.
Okay. See, I don't see what you saw. I wish I did. It just seemed very. I don't know. I'll say it again. Generic and predictable. That's my take up from Spell. And the last movie, fucking 5 out of 10. And the only reason I watched this one, this is the worst part, is that I was excited because I was finally able to sit down and watch a Joe Bob show live when everybody else watched them. So I sat down and I said, okay, I'm watching Joe Bob tonight at 9 o'clock, whatever time he comes on, and I'm going to watch it with everybody else and talk about it after like people do. And here I am. So I sit down and watch Joe Bob's show on Shudder. And for the first time ever, he's going to show a movie that has never been seen before. And it's a movie from this year. I'm like, okay, great. And I watched this movie, and I'm so turned off with the first segment, and it goes on, and then it goes on way too long. And the third, good gimmick, I guess, but I've seen it done way better. I guess they pulled in the nostalgia stuff, especially someone like me who loves a VHS store and stuff like that. You'd think I would love it. I thought it was not very good, and that movie was called Scare Package. Wow. And people were blowing it. people were blowing it, and I was just like,
I didn't mind it. Yeah, I saw it. I didn't mind it. I actually didn't mind that and Mortuary Academy or Collection or whatever the fuck it was. The one that made my top 20. Like, I actually thought they were both kind of, I watched them back to back. And I actually confused which one was what. I think it's the last story in Scare Package that I'm not on board with. But I liked some of the other ones in it.
the last one to me was terrible, and the first one, when that guy was like half a body cut, it was so goofy comedy. I felt like I was watching an episode of freaking like Monty Python.
It's a trauma movie, yeah. That one, I know. The camp one where the guy's just a puddle on the ground.
Yeah, it was so bad.
I
was so turned off. I hung with it, and then there was a couple things that were okay, and then the last one, and Joe Bob was in that one, but it just went on so long and nothing happened, and it was just like they were trying to do something that I appreciate the heart behind it, but the execution. If we made a movie and it was that, I'd be disappointed. We could do better with our ideas than what they put out there. It was just.
Well, hold on, we got to write a script first.
I know.
Let's
I'm
not go
just saying,
crazy.
we could do better. We could do now off the cuff better than that. I think. Just okay. What would be cool for retro and in a movie shop and this and that, and let's call back to old horror. We could sit here right now in freaking 10 minutes have something better. I think. Anyway, it was my worst movie. It was a 5 out of 10. There you go.
Interesting.
Yep.
I agree with Watson. Dark Forces was horrible on Netflix. My bottom 5, number 5 would be The Turning.
Skipped it.
Just a atrocious.
I just thought it was generic. Yeah.
Just so generic and really horrible ending. Number 4 would be The Other Lamb. Probably the most boring film I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Had me almost in a coma. Like that.
Did you watch Lose? Did you watch the new version of Lose?
Yes.
Did you like it?
It was very good. Yes.
I thought they were so familiar. It was crazy as far as downtime. But whatever. They were very familiar to me.
Number 3 would be shoot. I don't have. Shit.
Yeah, come back to it. Do shout outs.
No, wait. I totally lost. I deleted all my movies, so I can't remember right now. I know Jessica.
Save all this info? Wow.
I don't save anything. Jessica Forever was my number 2 lowest film. It was on Shudder. It was a 2 out of 10, and my number 1 lowest film was a film called The Dead Ones, which I was actually looking forward to, about a school shooting, but really poorly done. Poorly executed. Really a subject matter that hasn't been tackled well in horror. Should have been. What was my 3rd?
The Boy?
No, it wasn't. I had it in my mind. I was like, okay, that, and that. And I just can't, for some reason, can't remember my number 3.
Tongue, huh?
Human Zoo?
I didn't see.
Fucking atrocious.
You could say what you want about me missing some maybe possible heavy hitters or things like that because of my methods, but I did not see anybody's bottom movies. Yours, or Watson's. None of them. Didn't see them. Avoided them like the plague, and apparently I did better for it, and I'm happy. Nina Forever? Was that the one? Jessica Forever? That's the one that Heather's been talking about all year.
That's the only reason I watched it. They asked me to watch it because she said it was so bad that you have to see it. So I watched it knowing it was going to be bad, and you read the description for it, and it's like, oh, this doesn't sound too bad. And then you watch the movie, and you're like, did they run out of money or anything? They didn't do anything here.
Was this a
sequel?
I
guess her issue was no.
Those other wasn't there? Oh no, I'm thinking Julia X or Jennifer X or something like that. So I'm thinking of a different movie. I think.
The Haunting of Julia.
No, I'm not thinking of that one. Anyway.
Wait, what'd you say, Christian?
I thought it was a sequel, or is it part of a franchise, or is it a standalone film?
Standalone.
Okay.
Did you understand it? Because that was Heather's issue. She said, I dare anyone to watch it and be able to understand what happened in that movie.
I don't think there's anything to understand. Nothing really happens. I get the setup for it, but nothing really happens. It's just pretty bad. I'm really upset that I remember my 5th, 4th, and 2nd and 1st. This is very strange that I can't remember my 3rd film.
It'll pop in your head.
It's really annoying me right now.
I could tell.
It'll pop in your head when you least expect it. That's why you save your notes.
Shower.
You got to put everything in it. I have stuff from 2015 here still.
I don't save anything. I delete.
Why?
I delete or get rid. I don't. need any more clutter in my life.
But it's not really clutter. Just put it in the cloud, and it's on a device when you want to look at it.
I don't even know what a cloud is.
You're a cloud.
You're a crumb.
Well, I'll give my shout out. Oh no, we'll go. You got some shout outs. See, the only ones I'm gonna give are ones that were 8 out of 10 that didn't make my list. That's all I'm gonna say.
Shout outs would be the ones that just like barely that. I did like Come Play. I mentioned it on the show. It was in Brandon's top 20. I rewatched it again with my kids, and I'm like, man, this probably should have edged out Unhinged if I truly wanted, because Brandon kept saying that I didn't have that Unhinged wasn't a horror.
I gave it an 8.
As did I. So did I. Come Play, man, is way better than you ever expect it to be. Because I think most people are going to put it in with, like, Slender Man and all those films, and it's much better. And possibly the scariest image of the year, where the mom's face transforms, and that's all I'll say in one specific sequence. It is terrifying that my son, after we watched the movie, says, "Can we go back?" The end makes me tear up. But then he asked me to go back so he could watch that again and said, "Dad, that's probably the scariest thing I've ever said." I go, "I'm with you, man."
It's this year's Before I Wake. That's what I compare it to. Like, that's how good it was. Like, Before I Wake made my top 10, and I think they both came in at number 9 for me in the years that came out. Like, that to me pairs perfectly with this, Before I Wake and Come Play.
And so I'm right there, and I almost feel like that deserves to have been on that list. And Werewolf, it was on your list as well, Brandon. You recommended this, and I was blown away. I kept calling it real life horror because it's not a traditional horror film, but boy, there's more to it, and it's so beautifully filmed, and the kids don't even look like they're acting. It's almost like, it's not a documentary, but you almost feel like you're just witnessing a slice of life of that time period, and it's so well done. Blood Quantum was right there as well, and Underwater. Again, it was off my list, but I enjoyed it. I didn't expect to enjoy it. I thought it was going to be very generic, and it was very entertaining, because I love how you just jump right into the movie. It's already something's happening, and it's like action.
This is how bad my mind is. I was about to ask you what Underwater was, and then I realized it made my top 20. I totally, like, I'm like, Underwater? What the hell is that? Is that a shark movie? I'm thinking. That's
and when I look, my God, when I look at my top 35, there's nothing. I recommend every one of these movies in the top 35.
Do it. Rock on. Recommend them.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I won't say any more, but there's a ton of great ones. Well, no, The Hunt, Spree, The Babysitter 2 I liked. His House, Open 24 Hours, I think I have in that. Well, it is in that realm there. Extracurricular.
Yeah, wasn't bad. Yeah.
Open 24 Hours pissed me off with the reveal. Kind of like what's going to happen kind of tonight. I was on board for the movie that we're going to be talking about soon until like maybe the halfway point. And then it kind of just loses me. So, but we'll get there. But Scare Package was there, 38.
Well,
Hunter, I gave 35, but it probably should even be higher than that. Hunter, higher than that, just based on that ending. Oh, I can't even talk.
Higher because of that ending.
Anyway, that's it for me. Those are my shout-outs. Over to you guys. Every movie.
I told you, my year was, even with Scare Package, movies that I was down on, other people were higher on, and movies that I was high on, a lot of other people didn't like it as much as I did. That was the year I had in 2020. It's just weird. I don't know why. I don't know why I became so different than everybody else all of a sudden. I mean, not completely, but I don't know. It's just weird. I'm going to read 8 off, or I'm going to read the 8 out of 10s I have.
8 off.
8 off.
8 off.
Brendan's like, what the fuck, man?
And then I'm going to read off any other ones.
Then you're going to beat off.
Higher.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to beat off. Yeah, that too. I'm going to beat off Adolf. Yes. Then I'm going to mention any 7 or higher that I had that didn't come up on the 2020 show at all, that I want to show a little love to. So, but these are just, we talked about all these, but these were my other 8 out of 10s that did not make the list. Random Acts of Violence, The Dark Red, The Invisible Man, The Hunt, Uncle Peckerhead, Host, Monstrum, The Mortuary Collection, and Alone. Those are the ones. And I keep getting confused. There was 2 Alones, there was 2
Three
Alives,
Alones.
there was hashtag Alive. That's why I stopped watching them. I think I watched
Home
one and I said,
Alone.
I can't do this. I had a panic attack almost about it. I can't do it. It was too many. So now I'm just gonna go down this line really quick. Throw some out there. The Platform, I gave a 7.5. I liked it as much as a lot of people, but not quite as much. I just didn't. Everything they had to do with that one character, that character's existence, and how that character survived and all that, just didn't make any sense to me, and I just could not excuse it in the plot. That's why I just was not. And you probably know that character I'm talking about. If maybe someone could. I've mentioned this a few times to people, and no one's ever been able to say, "Oh, well, this makes sense because this and this and this." I just think it's something that people overlook and don't care about. But to me, that was a reveal that I was like, "Oh, okay, that you just ruined the movie for me." But it's still 7.5. Everything else was good. Sea Fever, of course, we talked about. 1BR, I thought was good. I'd like to watch it again. I actually own it because I got it a family video closing. I got it pretty cheap, but I liked it. I liked the
This
review.
year's
on that
Invitation.
one.
Or
Kind of Invitation, yeah.
Invitation wannabe.
You're
It is
right.
good. I did enjoy it though.
Blood Quantum, The Wretched. Everyone was blowing it at the beginning of the year, and I watched it, and it was like a 7 for me. And I wanted to watch it again, thinking I was missing out on something because some people were blowing it, but I didn't get back to it. So I don't know. A movie called Get In, which I thought was good. I think that one I heard about from Heather and Scott, and I enjoyed it.
Get In's really good.
Yeah.
Is that the
Hunters.
prequel?
Yeah, exactly.
Heroes.
It should have, right? Ghost Hunters versus Bloody Mary. I'm gonna save some of these for Beak. Then I was gonna throw them out there.
No, I'm not gonna throw out that many.
No, I know, but I know this one came from you. There's a couple. Amulet I liked. Not for everybody. I want to watch it a second time and see if I can pick up on the meaning exactly and the steps along the way. I might like it more. But I kind of dug it. Feedback is one I heard nobody talking about, and I kind of dug it. I want to watch it again. I should have bought it. It was right in front of me for $1, the DVD, and I didn't buy it at Family Video. And I should.
Feedback was very good.
Yeah, it was cool. It was different. It was cool. Yeah, I dug it. Cleansing Hour, I saw last year somehow. Jason Lloyd gave me a link last December and said that it was coming out that same month. So I watched it. So I actually rated it on last year's show, and it was a 7.5. Everybody's blowing it this year. I don't know
what is the Cleansing Hour?
That exorcism on a YouTube show.
It was on my top 20. Jesus.
There you go.
My mind. Fuck.
I don't know.
I can't remember anything.
I hear Spiral, Wolf of Slow Hollow. Hold on. Slow Hollow, I said. Run, I did like Run, but it was just a 7 out of 10. The deal with Run, C or B, there was a scene in that movie where it could have been great. There was one instance when one character says, "Wait a minute, I wasn't hiding you from them. I was protecting you from them." Granted, it ended up being BS and that person was just a heel, but I thought there was going to be a reveal there to make us go into, you know what I'm talking about? When that happens in a movie, that would have been a hell of a swerve. And wait a minute.
If they had done that would have been great because everything else was so predictable. Yeah,
I know. But when she said that, I was protecting you from them. I thought, okay, where's the reveal? No, turns out she was just bullshitting and she's bad. You know what I mean? So The Closet I thought was okay, 7. Death of a Vlogger, okay, 7. And that's it. I'll leave it at that.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I excluded probably about 4 or 5 films because I just can consider them horror enough. So films that got 8 or higher for me: Unhinged, Spontaneous. Spontaneous would have been in the top 5 for me easily had I counted it as horror. A Good Woman is hard to find.
A good man, isn't it?
That's
A hard man is good to find, actually.
And Dogs Don't Wear Pants. I wanted so much for that movie to be a horror film because I think it might be one of my favorite films of last year. It's so good, and it's on Shudder as well. Some shout-outs. My biggest surprises for the year, a film called Live Scream.
Yeah, I heard them talking about it, Mr. Friday Nightmares.
No,
Yes.
it was very good.
I didn't know that it came out last year. They were talking about it, and I think what happened was I looked it up. There was a reason I didn't watch it because it's found footage. So by all means, I wanted to watch it. Is it Scream or Stream?
Scream.
Yeah, it's a 2018 when I looked on the B, so I said, I don't have to rush.
Yeah,
So I didn't go.
It came out in 2020. It's low budget, but the lead performance is really good. It's got heart to it. And if this film had more of a budget and could, like, you know, it would be even 10 times scarier. But it's a really good film. That was my biggest surprise of the year. Another two surprises were a film called You Die, which, if you read about it, sounds like a ripoff of It Follows, which is really just an homage to It Follows because it even references the film within the movie. And then my biggest surprise of the year, even though this is my lowest rated of all these films I'm going to mention, it's still a 7 out of 10, but it's called Jack in the Box. And it sounds like, and it looks and sounds like exactly what it is, a movie about a killer Jack in the Box. But I'll tell you what, the look of the Jack in the Box is fucking terrifying. The performances are good. The ending is... No, not really. The performances are good, and the ending is really good. If they had had some budget for gore, this film might have been up in the 8 range. It was really good. Other films I really enjoyed, Body Cam. I don't know if people are. I mean, yeah, it's definitely horror, but man, I really liked that.
Mary J. Blige, right?
Yeah, she was terrific in it. She's a good actress. Antebellum, I gave it a 7.5.
That would never pass Dave's.
Dude, I'm telling you, though,
I didn't watch it.
I put it on late at night thinking, okay, here's a horrible movie I'll just throw on late at night. And I was like, this is surprisingly good.
I got to check it out, man.
But Body Cam, I enjoyed Spell. I enjoyed Antebellum. I enjoyed Scare Package. Yeah.
You're right. It would not pass my list. And it's only a 4.1 out of 10 in the box cover. You're right.
It's a lot better
than
Prime.
It has. You're the Prime.
I certainly recommend.
You went fishing this year, didn't you? All over Prime.
Oh,
a lot of movies you're talking about are Prime.
Prime is a deep dive place for me. You type in, you can really find some hidden stuff on Prime that you don't even.
Livestream. I think Livestream is only on Prime. I think you have to pay, though. It's not Prime. It's Amazon streaming.
I couldn't find it anywhere to watch other than to pay for it. And eventually, I just rented it because I couldn't find. You couldn't even find it illegally to stream anywhere.
No, there's no physical. There's nothing. So
nothing.
It went under the radar, and then that's what they started talking about it. And because I hadn't seen it, you know me and found footage, they're blowing it, and I'm gonna watch it. So I stopped. I said, after I watch it, I'll come back. I'll listen to their review. So what I did was I stopped it. And then I went to look it up on the B, and it said 2018, so I immediately dismissed it. I said, I'll watch it, but not this year because it's not a 2020. But now I find out it is a 2020. Damn it.
Yeah.
I'll give them props over there in Friday Nightmares. Again.
Yeah. and again, like Christian mentioned Spree. I thought Spree was awesome. That number 20 spot for me went to Death of a Vlogger, probably because it was like one of the last films I watched, and I really enjoyed it. But it could have been Spree. It could have been The Invisible Man. You know, it could have been Unhinged if I went with it. There were so many films that were like right on the cusp there, and it was a great year. I wish I could remember my third lowest film, but it's really bugging me.
Well, while we talk about the last movie we're going to discuss today, maybe it will come to you.
There you go.
Yes,
I'm Jeremying out. I'm getting this show rolling.
Shadow in the Cloud, directed by Roseanne Liang, written by Max Landis and Roseanne Liang, a female World War II pilot traveling with top secret documents on a B-17 Flying Fortress encounters an evil presence on board the flight.
This is more of a what do you call it, than the one for Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone was. This is closer adaptation.
At least it had a gremlin.
Yeah,
correct.
And I'm surprised because when everybody's saying this is more action than horror, well, that first half is really well done. Dude, that first half is so well done. They score, the production value, the sound design, the acting, everything on that.
The atmosphere.
It's fantastic.
I agree.
It's great.
Better than I thought it was.
The minute she leaves the Spurry, whatever they call it.
Yes.
The minute she leaves
there. Oh, you don't like that?
I love everything in the Spurry. The minute
I know what I'm saying. When she leaves, you don't like. I loved that. It was a thrill ride.
See, when she leaves the Spurry and is on the outside of the plane, and
then across,
everything after that becomes silly fun. but silly ridiculous in a way. The first half, I agree with Christian. It's so scary, it's so creepy looking out into the dark clouds, seeing the enemy
like
planes
scarecrows.
coming
Remember
out.
scarecrows? Everything over the walkie-talkie, and you're hearing the voices. But and then they're doing it artistically. Like when they cut to them, sometimes there's just blackness behind them with a light on them. It's really well done. Sorry, I got interrupted there, but
it's two films. It's two films. It's that atmospheric sort of slow build dread of the first half, and then it's all out action horror cheddar in the second half.
Michael
I'm not saying I don't
Bay-esque.
like it. It's just a big difference from the first half.
Yeah, it is two movies. You said it. It's like the total shift. People talk about in Krampus. I'm all on board in Krampus. There's a Christmas cookie that comes to life, and you know what? Fine, I love it. But this is a total shift. This is when she's fighting that gremlin, and then it falls out, and then she falls down to her death, only to have the exploding plane kick her back in. I'm like, I love it. At one side of it, I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch? On the other side of things,
that's
it's
Die Hard. That's Die Hard.
It's so Die Hard. It's Die Hard 5 Die Hard. It's not even the original Die Hards. And you're like, that's ridiculous. Like she would have been dead. It just no ifs, ands. There's nothing that you can explain to me that would allow that to happen. That is realistic, and it's so weird that I'm like, did I just see that? And part of me wanted to love it if I was watching a Die Hard movie, but we weren't watching a Die Hard movie.
I still
it's
enjoyed
weird
it.
because to me, when that crawling thing started on the plane and the way they showed it, it is a bit of a stretch for a movie, but the way it happened, they showed every step that she took, and to me, that explained enough to me that it could be done. Like if I watch Die Hard is a movie I want to watch for the first time ever this month. It's still on, but it's too long. I will try to get to it. But when I watch action flicks, I see things all the time that when I do watch them, I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous. That's impossible. But for some reason, when I watched this one and they showed, of course I see it. I'm like, okay, I know where this is going. I see the package. Obviously, she's going to get to it. It's because when the gremlin did the thing, I'm like, okay, how is it going to happen? But when they showed it, they showed every step she took, literally. And so it could be explained. She didn't do some crazy jump that could never be done. So again, my memory isn't good. We know this, but they showed her executing it step by step. So is it a stretch for a normal person to do it? Yes, but when we're seeing it play out on the screen, I didn't look at it as being cheesy action sequence. I don't know.
Well, no, I'm talking about when she's escaping, it's just far-fetched. But I'm on board still. It's when she falls out of the plane and the explosion of the plane below trajectory sends her right back up, right back through the hole. She doesn't hit that hole, doesn't hit the side of the plane, straight back up through that hole, and then hits the top. Okay. They film it well, but then she would have broken her back or something. I understand it's the fight for her baby, which was another reveal. The reveal of it being a baby, I get where it was going, and then once you just have to sort of accept it, and then I did accept it, and I was along for the ride, but I'll say that I was hovering at that 8 range through that first half, and then it just dropped down. Not substantially, excuse me, but it dropped down just based on the reveal of it being a baby. I
totally agree.
Like that baby,
like
no one whimper, not one cry. The first thing that popped in my head is it's the baby in Halloween 6.
They drugged the baby.
Okay, but the second they open it up, it wakes up.
But hold on. Let me explain. Because you know me. When that reveal first happened, my heart sunk. I was like, oh, that's impossible. I'm saying everything you're saying, see. It didn't make a sound. It didn't do this. I go, please explain this. And she said, I took it right here, and they sedated it. As soon as I found out that they injected something in that thing to sedate it, and then I looked at the package, and there was something to breathe, I'll go, okay, you've explained it to me. I'm not mad now. If you didn't say that, and there was nothing, it was explained to me. So that's why I didn't get mad. And of course,
just seeing the light open up was enough to wake the baby up instantaneous. That the second the package was opened, baby wakes.
Okay, it's a little bit convenient.
I understand. We're there for the movie. This movie's not long. This movie does everything that I always say I wish other movies did. In, out, done. An hour and 15 plus credits, done. So I'm going to give it full credit for that because I always say I want that, so I got it this time. So it's not boring by any means. Do not take this. I'm just saying that there is a shift, and that shift is going to lose some, I'll say a lot of people. I think it will lose a lot of people at that 45-minute mark or or 40-minute mark.
Well, the mystery of not knowing what's in the package for the first half is really building suspense because slowly things start to be revealed. You start to see she doesn't have a broken arm. She has a gun. The accent scene where her accent starts to break up and they start to realize that she doesn't have an accent. I'm like, this is all really good. It builds so much tension and suspense that I don't think any payoff of what's in the package could really kind of meet your expectations at that point. I have no problem with it being baby, and like Dave said, I told you they mentioned that she went to the nurses and had it drugged and sedated, and that's fine. The minute she leaves the Spurry and crawls out onto the plane, I'm not saying it's ridiculous. I don't care. I suspend disbelief because it's an action horror film. The fact that a gremlin exists, like, I'm gonna complain that she's able to crawl upside down on a plane when there's a fucking gremlin creature there? Like, no. It is silly and ridiculous. I mean, he has giant claws, so it makes sense why he'd be able to hold on. He's got that fucking claw that's like this deep. But my biggest downfall in the second half is just the kills just came one after the other so quick. Boom, 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 boom.
You don't know who's dying. You're right.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, who's that?
Up.
Who's that? But I do like the interaction between the characters. I like the sort of, male chauvinistic,
I love that.
I love that. So
fantastic.
Great.
I liked it too. I think the card was played a little too strongly. And at the end, when I saw it was a female director, I said, okay, now I know why. I legitimately looked it up. I said, I wonder if this was directed by a woman because it seems extremely Me Too. I was like, well,
oh, really?
Let me look. Again, I might come in the highest in this movie based on what we're seeing so far. So I'm not knocking it all. It's just an observation.
That's
it seems
interesting.
A little heavy-handed because it was like nonstop, and then only one person was being cool, and we find out why later. So I'm like, there is locker room talk, but I think it was a little bit excessive, especially for that many guys. And I think we could have gone with having maybe 3 of those characters not there at all. I think it was too much of a cast.
There were a lot of characters, and I'll agree, I would have liked, instead of having the scene with her crawling on the plane, have them somehow get her out of the Sperry halfway through, and then maybe build even more tension with having a scene of them in the cabin. More building.
At that point, it's just boom, 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 boom. You're right. Yeah. There's like it doesn't take a break. So you've got this whole build up, which is fantastic. There's suspense, there's mystery, there's intrigue, and then it's just balls and
fight.
Again,
yeah.
Part of me appreciates that, but I kind of, because I was like, what? It's a baby. What the fuck? What? They're related. What? I'm not buying it. What? She just got blown back up. I'm like, it was like 1, 2, 3 things in a row. Then I'm like, wait a second here. This is not the movie I started with. But then I got back on board. And again, if this creature, I'm just assuming it's CG and not practical. I'm assuming it's a 100% CG creature. This is how it's done right. I have absolutely no problems with the CG creature, which is why I thought you were, Brandon, you saying that you didn't like the creature. Yeah, it's a big bat. It's like a bat.
I just hate the look of the creature. I just think after the Twilight Zone movie, especially, it's like, scare us, give us something scary, especially with the atmosphere. Then it just becomes, and I have no problem with it switching to, them fighting it in the daytime. It's just not scary looking. So it's
but to me,
horror.
That's realistic. That's what something would look like. It's a creature, and they, you know what I mean? It's not played up for horror movie shock. It's more like when you see that cartoon in the beginning and they show what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks exactly like the cartoon. Yeah,
that's what it looks like. I like that. It's more of a
cartoon. I would have rather been more horror. I wanted.
And the guy called it a rat.
I know. I would have rather been more horror and just been more like Twilight Zone movie-esque. Just been terrifying.
I side with Dave there. I had no problems with that. Again, it was just me getting, there's like a 10-minute hump right there after that 40-minute mark. I'm like, what? Huh? Who? And then I'm back on board again. So, like, once again, but I was just like, wow, that shift was crazy. Like, it just seems so crazy for the movie that we were given. And then the music for the credits and everything. I talked about the music earlier.
The music
beautifully
was
done. And then there's even hints I was saying of Phantasm, I'll just say it correctly this time, where it reminded me of that theme. Again, I'm like, oh, the shades of it. But then they escalate it, and it's a great score. Like, this is already, like, first movie of the year, it will be a contender for score of the year. Because it was epic. I really appreciated the score. So there's a lot of pluses here. Chloe is fantastic.
She's a great actress. She's a great actress.
Best performance, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean,
she was really good and let the right one in. Let me in. Excuse me.
I gotta go back. I've only seen it the one time. I hear you.
It's just that that shift. Now, okay, so then they give you the shift, and are you along for the ride? And initially, I got to say no. I'm like, what the fuck happened? But then I got right back into it, and I said it's a quick ride. So there's gore. Yeah. There's a lot of people getting like either torn apart, shot up. Like just when you think someone's safe, boom, they're riddled with bullets or whatever it may be. It's really done fast, and I do like that. I do like the payoff, and I do like her fight of being Mother Bird and trying to protect her baby. I guess is
I wish I like it, but I wish it had been a little bit more epic. I mean, I get it that she had already shot the thing, so it was wounded, so that she really... It was funny that the thing actually started running away from her. Because she was yelling at it earlier on in the film, do not estimate how far I'll go. Or do not... do not...
Oh, when she's punching it at the end, I was actually like going, oh, like the sounds, and just, it was like, I was like, holy shit, it got... What?
Did I say something weird, Dave?
No, I just looked at my notes, and because I haven't looked at them at all this whole discussion, which is great when that can happen. But I looked, and I saw something, and I started laughing because it's one of my notes. So it's okay. I'll get to it.
But yeah, like how far she goes is pretty... she goes all the way with Stephanie K. That's a Degrassi reference. Anyway, yeah. What was your note, Dave? That made you laugh.
My note is this. Remember that part when the gremlin's below and she grabs the luggage and she starts throwing the luggage at it? The first one that she threw and grabbed, I thought was the one with the baby.
Oh, speaking of which, when he lands and lands down, and they do a close up of blood, were they trying to make it look like the baby might have been killed? Oh, by the way, this is spoilers. Did it look like that? Because the blood started from the box.
That was in her mind. She was thinking worst case scenario because then it came out of her mind. She was thinking that Quaid had died and that the baby was bleeding out, and then it kind of pulled back to reality. And he sat up. Yeah, it was like almost like. I wasn't
even going to mention the baby, by the way, but Christian said baby, and so we roll with this. We're going to have
spoilers.
We're going to have to put it at the show. Spoiler review of
spoilers. Is a baby on board?
Which,
baby on board.
Baby's day out.
When you see the poster and everything else, to me, yes, it was a tonal shift, but I was anticipating and hoping it wasn't going to be that the whole movie. So when that happened, it wasn't surprising to me because I was expecting action horror.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
it really looked like the whole movie was going to be like the second half.
Right.
That poster. That poster is like almost like false advertising. Like that looks like a straight out action film when you look at it. It's not like that at all. There's enough suspense and build up in that first half, really done artistically and well done, and playing within that budget. That, like, again, just when she starts climbing on the outside of a plane with a harness of her precious cargo wrapped around her. I understand it's her fight to the end to make sure everything's okay, but you're just like a little bit like, oh my God, really? Like, just because of the setup. That's it. If it was set up as an action film, you probably wouldn't care so much. But it's just the way of the presentation. I think that's why it's such a shift. But hey, again, if a movie could do that and still succeed, I said it didn't lose me entirely. I was just there kind of scratching my head for a bit going, well, what happened here? And then I was on board again for the end. But
I was too.
Fun, fast paced and fun.
Yeah, and then we get the unlikely hero thing that happens towards the end with that one guy and what was going on with him, and you know what he did at the end. What the hell was he said something funny to her? Oh, I forgot what he says. You damn idiot, or
hey,
something.
Hey, mother,
like
one another.
What did you say? Hey, mother.
Hey, what?
Indeed.
Hey, mother, one another. Such a bad throwback.
How about when she gets? You know what I loved is how mad she got when she said, "I said, don't let this go." He's trying to have that tender moment, and I'm not going to spoil. And then how she reacts to it. You don't see that a lot in movies, and I love it. I love when you think it's going to go in some direction that you've seen a million times. And, oh, wait a minute, you know, and then she does her thing, and she does a badass thing. It's great. I thought she was great. I thought it was her best performance in her character.
And to add what you're saying, another thing the director does great is she has a lot of those moments. I've mentioned it already where someone, like a mid-sentence bites it, and then there's a couple of interruptions that are I love that when it's in mid-sentence, you think everything's going to go one way, and then boom, it's just like, it just turns. I'm trying to be cryptic here because I've spoiled so much of this movie already, I feel, that I'm trying not to say it, but there's a couple of moments that are interrupted, and I appreciated that because it plays with the expectations, and that's what you want when you're watching a film like this.
Yep. And I like that there is a dual threat. Not only do you have the gremlin, you have the Japanese, you have the war. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you have planes flying and all that. What you see at the beginning and everything else. It's I don't know. I enjoyed it so much more than I thought I was going to. Like, I was, of course, we all praised the first half, and that was great. And then when it flipped, I was like, okay, this is cool. Now we get more monster action close up and everything else. And then the reveal of the baby. And I was like, oh, you know what? This is fine, because I wasn't anticipating that, but I was anticipating action. So when we get those action sequences, it's just something you have to come to expect.
I would have liked more kills from the monster.
Most of the kills were from the enemy.
What? Yeah,
most of the kills are from the enemy.
Gunfire
right?
from the enemy. Yeah.
But
the one guy falls out of the plane.
Yeah. Well, and I also like how they give that balding guy, they kind of gave him a heroic moment, or a little bit of a, because he was such a dick at the beginning. He's like, you protect this babe. Like he wanted to make sure she protected it. And I love that. I love when a movie does that, like gives a character that you're kind of like, hero. Yeah, or that's who you're referring to before.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea what you were talking about when you were like the unlikely hero. I thought you meant the guys at the end when they're like, we'll cover for you about the papers and stuff.
No, I meant him, because then the last thing he said was something about you idiot or something like that.
Yeah, you idiot, protect the baby. And then he's, but he doesn't get blown up. He's like, where's my plane to blow me back up?
Yeah. Damn it. But anyway, like, again, so how were you, like, really high on this, or like?
I was quite high for a bit. I end up at an 8 out of 10.
Whoa.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I said, I admit I was at like that 8.5 out of the gate. I was like, wow, this is way better than I was ever expected it to be. Then I kind of probably thought I was at the 7 range. And I'm like thinking after this discussion, I'm like, because I was comfortable coming in at 7, but I think when all said and done, it did bring me back on board, and I love the ending, so I'll go 7.5.
Nice.
And I'll say this: the winners for this movie are the first half, obviously, but her performance and the music. The music, there's only one point in the movie where I did not like the music. There's just one point where it gets crazy out of control for a second. It just becomes, like, gives you a headache for, like, literally 25 seconds. Other than that, story of 2 films, first half I'd be much higher on than the second, if the whole movie was like the second half. But I still enjoy it enough, 7 out of 10.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that first half, like, it's weird because Christian talks about liking we talk about liking the Peel one, which is no gremlin. Like, if they had no gremlin in this one and somehow had done it about the war and just built from the atmosphere, I don't know what they would have done. Like, this would have been the one where I'm like, okay, this is the one where you could have done without the gremlin. I don't hate it. And I don't hate it because it's CGI. I just hate it because it was just very generic looking. It was just, like you said, it was straight up the cartoon. I was like, this is where I want it to be terrifying. I want it to come on board, and I want it to freaking kill people. It was almost like a scared animal when it got on the plane. It was just, like, freaking out most of the time. So that
see, but that's what I like. It seems more realistic in an unrealistic type of movie.
Yeah, see, but if it's an unrealistic movie, I don't want it to be realistic. I just want it to go fully unrealistic.
It's just like what I say with bipedal werewolves, or when they're not bipedal, when they're walking on all fours. What I'm saying is,
you should get that on a bumper sticker. It's what I always say about bipedal werewolves.
I like them for horror movies, but I also like seeing them when they're walking on all fours. It seems more animalistic. It seems more like if it was going to happen, that's how it would look. If there was such a thing as a gremlin flying in the sky, to me, it's more likely to look like that than something from another world. It just, for some reason, that always resonates with me, that they don't go all the way outlandish with everything, that they keep something like, okay, it's going to be a monster, but it's only going to look so monster. It's going to look as much like a rat as it does an alien.
I would have done all that. But
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it either way. It looked fine, but
just preference.
More kills with it. I like when they roll the plane, and I like the captain talking about the gremlin being just sort of like, an idea for covering up human error and stuff like that. There's a lot of good dialogue in this. It's very, fast and like one after another with these lines, especially that first half when
Oh,
they're
the
basically
first half was
torment.
great.
Yeah,
And
Well,
when
we
it's
didn't
really
see
just
too
on
much
her, she like you said it, Dave. It's like it's a one-person show. This could be a play almost in a sense of like taking place of her in that one little location, and you're just hearing radio play. Come in, and it's again you got to be a talent. Radio, and you hear Radiohead. Creep. Please throughout the whole fucking show. It's great because you got to give the director credit there, because again, to make that interesting takes talent as well.
You really care about her as a character.
What stage actor? I think they're gonna get Helen Mirren to play the Gremlin. Or is it Dame Helen Mirren?
There it is. I love it. It feels so good. Oh, we did it on one of our longer shows.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem that way because it was just a lot of fun.
Loosey goosey, like Brandon's asshole.
I still can't remember my number 3.
An oldie moldy. Just type it into the Facebook. Cliffhanger it. Do we know what we're doing next show? We don't know what we're doing next show yet.
No, because we don't know what's being released. Well, we know, but we haven't decided and everything. But we will get on it pronto. Like even today, we'll look more and we'll put something in the group page and on the Patreon so you guys can. Because people say it all the time. They like to get a chance to watch it before we record and they listen. So first chance we get when we decide, we'll put it up. We'll put up the vote. We'll get right on it.
Well, this was the one where, like, if anything, we could have fallen into a trap of watching a shitty movie. Now we got choices.
Yeah.
From here on out, because I know for the next show when we record, we have at least probably like 8 or so movies that are coming out between now and then.
We just got to figure out what's going to be the best choice. But we'll do that, and we'll have voting. So look for that. Actually, by the time you hear this, it's all going to be taken care of. So it'll be out there. Hopefully, we'll continue and we'll be good. Hopefully, 2021 will have good movies. 7s or higher. So far, so good.
We're off to a decent start.
I am at a 100% success rate so far with the Dave method.
Right. Write them down. Indeed.
Awesome.
Moshi, everyone.
Long time.
What's the animal called?
A Mon-chi-chi.
Machi-chi?
Correct.
Yeah.
Mon-chi-chi.
Mon-chi-chi.
Mon-chi-chi
has a better
Chi-chi?
room.
Yeah.
Mon-chi-chi.
Yep. That's how we'll say goodbye from now
No,
on.
Mon-chi-chi.
Mon-chi-chi.
Moshi to start, Manchi at the end. Or Manchi.
Manchi. You sound like a bunch of little Japanese girls. Manchi, everyone.
Yeah. Take care.